All right, there we go. It always takes a second for the true transition to happen and then the mic input source to go live. So no boomerisms here this time, guys. Just pure, unadulterated. Everything is going A-okay this time. Everything is flowing. We're connected. All the comments are working. That means we are here for Friday night. We are here for another episode of The Good, the Mad, the Ugly. And it looks like things are, I see it. That's what I'm saying, Zero. Audio is in order. Look at that. Your comments are popping up all fine. The lighting looks great. Everything went off without a hitch. Looks like I'm feeling good about this one, guys. It looks like we're finally hitting our stride again. Or again, we're finally hitting our stride in general. But I digress. It is Friday night. We are back right here on the Studio Kabuto YouTube channel. I am your host, Spencer Bakuli. You might also know me as Mav. You might also know me as the editor-in-chief of Bounding Into Comics. And I want to welcome all returning viewers, new viewers, everybody in between, back to another episode of Good, Mav, Ugly. The show we host here, we host this show because all week, things suck. Things are really crappy around the world, whether in real life or in our, the treatment of our favorite fictional properties. But we deserve it. We owe it to ourselves to at least carve out like 2 hours out of our week, right? To remember that there's still some cool stuff here. And there's still some reasons to, wake up in the morning, if you will. I know that sounds a little dramatic, but who knows? I don't know. You guys know these little intros are a little rambly. I should probably just learn to record a preamble and play it every week. That way you wouldn't have to listen to this. But either way, anyway, whatever transitional word you want to use, we are here, we are live, and we have a lot to talk about this week, guys. Obviously, if you caught the thumbnail or the stream title, the big topic of the night will be James Gunn's Superman. I know we have, like I said, all of our favorite properties have gone through the ringer in the last decade plus, maybe 2 decades. We've all been burned, and it is a very understandable reaction to go, nope, this is all going to be bad. But damn it, guys, we'll go through it. But that trailer it blew me away. Like, it's weird, it's crazy. We'll talk about it. Trust me, you can see I'm just as stunned as you are, that I'm not only excited for a studio superhero film, but a studio superhero film from James Gunn in particular. But, so we'll be talking some Superman. We'll also be talking a little bit about the Kingdom Hearts debacle. There's some craziness going on with that franchise right now. If you guys know me, Kingdom Hearts is probably one of, if not the, my favorite video game property. So I'm going to have a lot of thoughts to talk about on that, but we will get into that. And then, of course, I just want to take some time later on, if we have some time, the Final Fantasy Magic set, guys. I know we touched upon it when it was announced, and we went over the 4 or 5 pieces of preview artwork they had. Over the past week, they have finally been unveiling not all of the cards, but multiple cards. What am I trying to say here, guys? They're finally unveiling the set, and we've gotten a lot of releases and previews throughout the week, and man, some of these cards, I love this game. This set, I will have to give Wizards of the Coast a lot of credit for once it finally drops, or once we finally get to talking about it, because man, am I very, very impressed with it. But aside from that, guys, or rather not aside, but before we get into any of that, as always, let's say hi to you beautiful bastards and bastardettes out there on the internet who chose to spend a little bit of their Friday night with me. I know everybody who watches the stream is very, very attractive and has multiple offers for multiple dates on every Friday night. So it means a lot to me that you would go, no, mi amor, good to have ugly time. So without further ado, let's get into let's say hi to you guys. And as always, this show isn't just about me to yak at you guys. This is an active engagement. If there's anything you guys want to talk about, if there's anything on your mind, pop it up. If you're a longtime viewer, you'll know that we can go on these tangents, and we'll always have something to talk about. There will be no lack of discussion topics, if you will, in Good Mav Ugly. So, that said, let's get into it. Oh, side note, guys, you might notice that I meant to I meant to touch upon this when Zero and I were going, green light, green light, green light. A big reason you're seeing, or a big reason I think this stream right now is all working out well. My sleep schedule and shit, I finally fixed it. So I'm finally being rested again. My brain is finally on point. So we can be more productive, we can be more coherent, and we can be less ADD riddled, going all over the place, going blah, 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 blah. So it's all for you. It's all for you. I do it for you. So I do it for you guys. So why not say hello to the guys and gals I do it for? Starting with Corey, what is going on? Hey, Spencer, gay. Yes, welcome to the gayest stream that will always be held on YouTube. Friday night pride fights, if you will, is what happens here on this channel. Always a pleasure to have you, buddy, for the short time that I have you before you got to go to bed for work tomorrow. We also have Sakura Mita. What's going on, buddy? He says, Spencer, can I share? As always, you can. I always want you to share. So you can always share things with me, whether they're links or fan art or what have you. You can hit me up on Twitter. You can also hit me up on the Kabuto Studios Discord server. There is a link to it down below in the description. Again, sometimes I might not get to it, or I sometimes might, not. I might jump topics on whatever you present me, but I always want to see it. I always want to hear from you guys. So share away, Sakura, wherever you feel you want to share it. We have, as we already said hello, we have Zero Dozer. What is going on, buddy? He is here. We have freaking Punk. Hey, chat, and Boomer Spencer. Oh, I'm glad you're here, Punk, because I meant to do this shout out. Last night, of course, was Foil Variant with me and Andrew discussing the comic book releases of the week. As we had a lot to talk about last night, we didn't do a lot of fan engagement because this week we got a new Supergirl series, guys. And if you know our boy Andrew, that is his girl. That's his Ben Reilly, if you will, right? Like, he's got all the toys. Anytime there's a variant cover with her, he's on it. He's going for it. So with the new series, and especially a series that went off to a really lackluster debut, we had to give it a lot of time. But that said, Punk did let us know last night that, if you guys remember, he went last weekend. He had a packed schedule. He went to both a comic convention and a amateur wrestling show, and he actually met, what's her name, Teal Piper, the daughter of Rowdy Piper, and he has a picture with her. He sent it to me. I saw it. He told us that during Foil Variant. Again, I didn't have the chance to acknowledge you, but that is really, really, really cool. And she's a good-looking gal. So I'm glad you had fun, my man, and I'm glad you are here now to kick your weekend off right and hang out with the rest of us. Punk also says, I'm not interested in the new Superman movie. I've never been a big Superman fan. I've always liked Batman more than Superman. Completely fair, and I totally hear that read. We'll get into it. I will hope. I'm not going to tell anybody that, their preferences are wrong. If you don't like Superman, you don't like Superman. No amount of me going, you gotta love Superman. Like, that's not how you get anybody on board. However, I do hope you stick around and you at least hear me out, because there's so much good stuff in here that you could I hope that you guys could at least walk away respecting the how do we put this? The pre-release version of Superman that we have in our head, or at least the way the trailer is presenting it. Because again, I'm very much, credit where credit is due. Gunn did it. So we will get into that. Do not worry, Punk. We have, there's my man. What's up, Timon? Hey, Spencer. No, not James Gunn Superman. Yes, unfortunately, we will get into it. I'm surprised, or how do I put this? I actually watched that trailer and I went, I wonder how, one of my first thoughts was, I wonder how Timon's going to take it, because I know you don't like any of this modern stuff, and I know, like the rest of us here, you have a particular hesitance to anything James Gunn, but I saw so many good Silver Age, like, comic book elements of the, era you like, that I went, we'll see. So I'm excited to get into that with, of course, not just you, but everybody else as we get into it. Timon says, Nobody 2 trailer was awesome. I didn't even know that trailer came out, but how do I put this? I really, really, really liked Nobody. I'm always wary these days, as we all are, I would think, of sequels. And that's not a new era, like, hesitant. It's not like, oh, they're making a Nobody sequel. They're gonna wokeify it. They're gonna do... That's a fear, but that's not what I'm talking about. It's sort of, ever since the 70s, 80s, you see, what's Foil Variant 2, and you go, oh boy, this could be bad. If it has Spencer and Andrew still starring in it, you go, okay, maybe we could be good. They got the same writer, all right. But then often it's like, oh, instead of Spencer and Andrew, it's like, it's Grace Randolph and Rich Johnston. What the hell? And then the writer is somebody completely different. And instead of talking about comic book mysteries, we are investigating like a monkey breakout at the zoo, right? Like, Hollywood just has this tendency to go make a sequel without really any good reason. So I always have that hesitance, and I think I'm always going to have it just from growing up in the 90s when that was at its peak. Like, remember all the Disney sequels? Some of them were okay. What was it? Aladdin and the 40 Thieves? I think that one. I like that one. But Little Mermaid 2, Pocahontas 2, 101 Dalmatians 2 and 3. That's the kind of thing I'm always hesitant about. But I trust Bob Odenkirk with pretty much anything. So I got to check that trailer out. Recommend a thumbs up from Timon. That's a pretty good recommendation to me. So I will definitely be checking that out probably after the stream, because I don't think there's a lot to comment on a Nobody trailer. So I don't want to sit here with you guys and go, oh yeah, that was pretty good, right? So I'm glad to hear it's good, and I definitely got to check it out. Timon says, question, have you made the change to Windows 11? October is the death month of Windows 10. I have not made the jump to Windows 11. I am one of those people who, especially when it comes to tech, I don't like to be an early adopter, whether that's of software or of hardware. So I don't always leap right away to grab the newest graphics card. I don't always leap right away to grab the newest consoles. I don't rush out right away to update my firmwares on a lot of things, because I've lived 34 years. I've seen how many times a shitty update goes out, one line of code bricks something or makes something screwy. And especially when it comes to Windows, their updates, Windows, how do you put this? Windows is so when it comes to computer platforms, Linux aside, because Linux and Ubuntu and all that stuff, those are objectively the superior OSs if you know how to use them. But that's a big if, because they are super, super complicated. Even my Linux knowledge is very, very not. I wouldn't call myself a Linux user. Let's put it that way, right? So what Windows offers you is, like, to me, it's the best platform for anything, for, creating software, for developing things, yada, yada, yada. It's just the most sort of open, accessible. If you really want to, like, crack open the hood of your PC, your Windows PC, you can do that. Apple, on the other hand, because it's supposed to be so user-friendly, they streamline everything. So it's really, really hard to get into the muck and guts of your operating system or change things like registries. Well, Apple doesn't have registries, but you know what I mean. Those hidden things that are always operating in the background of our computers, the veins, if you will, right? But what Apple does do really, really well is exactly that. It offers a really, really good user experience in making things simple for people who might not be the most tech savvy or not really, care too much about getting into the muck and guts, which is totally fine if that's you. But what really helps them in that area is their design philosophy. Apple kills the market when it comes to aesthetics, design. And I think that's what, separates them out from Microsoft. If they just made another operating system that was sort of all super blocky and, straightforward as Microsoft, they probably wouldn't have risen as fast as they have to be such a major competitor. But because they made it so nice to use and so pretty, you get everybody on board with it. And it is also like Apple operating systems are really good for music and art production, but that is mainly because a lot of the software is made specifically for Apple or runs better on Apple. So that being said, all of what I was saying with that is I do not want to upgrade to Windows 11 because while I know, of course, there's going to be all the funky whack about like this thing's probably going to break and that, audio driver is going to go wonky. The main thing I hate about upgrading my Windows operating systems at any point is the fucking design. Like nobody at Windows has a design aesthetic. So every time they upgrade the operating system, what was it? Like the jump from XP to Vista, where they just went from like the bubbly pseudo Apple aesthetic that they had on XP to a more sort of like flat, just a toolbar and everything. That's the sort of stuff that works for me. That's where I go, okay, that's enough of a slight refresh that if I know I'm using a new operating system, but not enough of a drastic change where I'm going, what the fuck? But nowadays you upgrade, what was it? I think maybe even the one from 9 to 10 or whatever that jump was, 7, 10, 8, 10. I don't fucking know anymore. But whatever preceded 10, I remember it was ugly as shit. It was really bad. But then 10 blah, blah, blah. Let me rewind. I mixed up my generations. The operating system before 10, Windows started trying to really push their stupid tile bullshit because they introduced the Microsoft Surface tablet and that was their mobile operating system. How do I put this? I want to show you guys, but I don't know how to make this work without we don't really need a visual for it. You guys can follow along with this. I think at least on this topic you guys know where I'm at with I was going to show you my desktop and show you the tile aesthetic thing, but I think you guys know what I mean. But anyway, I hate the fucking tile aesthetic. It doesn't make any sense. There's no cohesion. Microsoft designers just throw shit at the wall and go, oh, people like tiles and touching things for apps and colors, throw it all in, and it just looks awful. And the navigation gets all screwed up. So I hate all of it. I didn't know that they actually had confirmed a death date for Windows 10. That really bums me out. I'm going to have to consider genuinely whether I upgrade, free upgrade, obviously, with my genuinely legal copy of my Windows operating system, or do I fork out and do I go get a cracked copy of Windows 10 that isn't going to force me up to a Windows 11 until Windows 11 gets its shit together? Because every Microsoft operating system, they push it their stupid aesthetic for like the first year really hard, and then they realize people don't like it and they kind of just let it go by the wayside. So that sucks. Bad Microsoft, bad. That being said, I saw him in the chat. I just wanted to make sure we made it all the way through your guys' comments so we can give a proper hello. What is going on, Neon? Leon, words of paradise, bolt the word. How's it going, brother? It has been too long since I've been able to chat with you genuinely, that sounds so terrible. It's been too long since we've been able to hang out, have actual talks. I have been stopping by your streams as I am wont to do. You guys know me. If Andrew's having a stream, if Leon's having a stream, I'm probably hanging out there. The only thing is that the last couple weeks I've been doing like chores and other tasks, so I couldn't chat. But I've been listening. I'm always there for you. I'm always seeing you. I'm always in your corner, buddy. You know that. Of course, I'm part of the Countercast crew. Just happy to see you. Welcome aboard, brother. Hopefully, I know you're preparing right now for what the hell is the show tonight? It's Neon Leon tonight. I know you're preparing for Neon Leon. Hopefully, we can get to the Magic the Gathering talk. That was going to be my first topic anyway, because I've been thinking of you, buddy, and I want to hear some. I got some things to shoot at you. I got some things I want to point out to you. I got some things I want to, there's one thing in particular I really want to make sure you know, and I'm sure you already know about it, but I need you to know. So anyway, what's going on, Leon? Always happy to have you. Leon says, I don't like James Gunn. The suit looks like ass. Superman is the best DC hero, and I can't wait for this movie. That's exactly where I am, and I think that's where most people are. I still cannot stand, honestly, for me, yes, there is something weird about like the material they've made it. It's a little more stiff, right? Like almost, it's not this, so I'm not saying it is this, but just it's like he's wearing like a jacket version of his suit. So you've got like the, shoulder pads that stay a little stiff. I see like that is like, I see all that. I'm going to be honest. I could get past that if it wasn't for the stupid MCU lines. They distract the hell out of me, and it really, really bugs me. Aside from that, like take off the MCU lines, make it a little more, you don't have to go full like thin tights for Superman, but make it a little more stretchy, a little more form-fitting, and I think we could be cooking. That being said, yes, I'm not a fan of James Gunn. I think most of us here, both, in the Good Mab Ugly group, in our crazy little community here, I think us and probably our wider sphere, we are kind of sick of James Gunn. Don't get us wrong. But like Leon points out, that being said, this looks good. And so we will get into it. But I'm glad you also like it, buddy. We got to remember there are good things out here. Sometimes we get lucky. Punk says, I'm looking forward to the Emma Frost, the White Queen miniseries that's coming out soon. I'm excited for that too. Obviously, I was going to be reading it anyway because that is Andrew's Marvel waifu, if you will, is Emma Frost. So we were both pretty excited for it. And also just like, so let me backtrack a second, because I was explaining that Emma is Andrew's favorite character. And then I said, we got really excited. And I realized I missed a little bit of an explanatory gap there. Andrew loves Emma Frost. And he, anytime she's making an appearance, he wants the variant covers. Anytime she's in a book, he wants to just know that she's around. I didn't really care, like, not care for her. I just was indifferent to her for most of my life. After becoming friends with Andrew, because this is what happens when you are friends with people, his enthusiasm and his love of like the character has jacked off on me. I don't know why the hell I couldn't say rubbed. That was weird. Jacked off on me. And now I like Emma. I really get behind her. I get excited when she shows up, A, because I'm starting to like her a lot, and B, because I know he's going to be happy about it. So that miniseries, we are going to read it, and we are excited for it. We're both bummed, though, that I wish it wasn't a prequel miniseries, right? I wish it wasn't one of those, we're going to this unexplored period in Emma's past that we never talked about. Not even because of retcon fears, but just because, I don't know, do something new with her. She's in a really, right now where she is in continuity, they're not doing anything with her. So please just do something cool with her. Regardless, it'll be fun to read, and those first few, or at least the first issue variant covers, look really great. As always, as to be expected of a man who runs a show called Foiled Variant, I do have the Riki Yamagawa foil variant of Emma Frost on order, and I can't wait to have that and put it on display someday. Zero says, in a few months I might consider switching to Linux. I really, really recommend at least learning Linux, because it just gets you sort of that experience with computers, with codes and how things link up. So if you're not super familiar with all that stuff already, it really, really, really helps. But aside from that, super lean operating system, super customizable. Basically, the best way to sort of describe it is that it is a completely, well, I mean, this is what it is, but it's just a completely open source operating system. So you guys get to choose what things you want to put on it. You don't have to put an audio driver and setup on your operating system if you don't want to. You don't have to allocate all of the memory and stuff to have your system be running for like Cortana if you don't want to, because you don't have to add it in. I recommend it. Good luck, Zero. If you need any help, go ask somebody else, because I'm not going to be any help. Pardon me. As you guys might remember, at the end of last week, my voice started going out on foil variant, and then here on Good Map Ugly, as we were getting near the end of the show, I was, I was crashing hard. I was getting sick throughout the show, I'm at the point where I'm sneezing everything out and hacking everything out, so there might be occasional moments throughout tonight's show where you hear like I'm trying to speak, a weird mix of like Kazakh and Eastern Russian. So bear with me. I apologize. I hope it's not too gross for you guys. If it is, I can always do the. Oh no, I don't have that here. It's on. It's over on foil variant. On foil variant, I have the reactor or the reaction screen, right? Like my avatar, it goes gray if I'm not talking, yellow if it is. I don't have it set up here. Maybe I should do that. But Timon also says, I haven't updated to Windows 11 yet. I hate not having the choice to keep older user interfaces. It would solve 90% of it, right, Timon? At least for me, and I think, yeah, I'll speak for me. I'd say probably for a lot of people too. If you just release each Windows with select which skin essentially you want to use, it would be so much nicer. Instead, every time you want to customize its appearance, there are 4 billion weird windows to go to and different menus. Windows 10, just because I'm used to it and I'm sticking with it doesn't mean I particularly like it. It's just the best, easiest option here. I'm not in a position where I can fuck around a lot with my computer, because this is how I work, right? If I don't have my computer, I can't write for bounding, and there goes my paycheck. I can no longer afford all those really expensive pieces of 8x or 3x4 cardboard, right? But yeah, I just wish sorry, that cough sort of knocked my train of thought loose, but I wish they would just let us keep those older interfaces. It would solve 900% of the problem. And, that's what I was going to complain about. That's what I was going to bitch about, is that one of the things I hate the most about Windows 10 is that back in the day, if I wanted to go to my sound settings, I click Control Panel, I click the sound, and there's everything. Now, I have literally a folder of 4 different shortcuts on my start menu to, here's your device playback settings, here's your connection settings, here's your overall audio settings. It's so stupid. It's not all in the same area. Windows, they think they're being really helpful by compartmentalizing everything, but it just makes it harder. Because I'm like, okay, sound. Oh, in sound, that's not where I go to for microphone. That's where I have to go to recording. And I'm just like, fuck off, stop. Microsoft tries too hard to make things, they're like the old DCEU, right? They're trying too hard to, follow and catch up to their rival. It's not really working out. If Windows and Apple at this point in their existences both said, all right, we're going to be completely open just like the other. Let's say that, Apple says, oh, we're going to run like Windows. You can play video games on our systems, yada, yada, yada. Everything gets acclimated. I would go to Apple in a heartbeat because, again, they at least know what the fuck they're doing. Yes, that is also a big thing about it too, Timon. The problem with Apple, 10 times the price. That is really, really, shitty. I have noticed, though, that they have started offering, these things called, Mac Minis that are probably, maybe no bigger than an iPhone like this, or a little thicker than an iPhone, but they're really strong computers. I actually looked up the components, and they've got the latest M4 chip, which is, Apple aside, Apple's M series chips are top of the line just across the sector. So it's got that. It's got like a 256 SSD on the lowest end, and it's only like $500. Yeah, you got to go buy your monitor and everything else. But I was like, for somebody like me, that's not a bad thing to maybe just throw $500 down to have one to play around on. So they are better now than they were, at the height of iPod and iPhone 3. But the Apple price point is still genuinely something that I'm still mad about. Mm-hmm. That's always how it happens, Leon. Leon says, my computer restarted while I was away in Vegas and it auto upgraded to Windows 11. I hate, dude, everybody out here knows what I'm about to say, so it's not like I'm breaking any grounds, but just let me have my excited dude bro moment, or dude bro explanation. Dude, I hate the fact that every time that's what they do. They always try to stealth update you, Windows, and they always do it like, they do the thing where it's like, you have to say you don't want it, or you're gonna get it. It happened to me last night. I was actually playing Magic the Gathering on Tabletop Simulator with some friends. So I had my Discord open and the Tabletop Simulator, and they're both full window. I get out of the game, and at some point while I was playing, I got the message that was like, would you like to, we're going to upgrade you to Windows 11 unless you say no. And it was like, you have to click it in like within the next 15 minutes. And by the time I saw it, because it didn't pop up over everything, it popped under because they were full screen. It was like, you have 2 minutes, otherwise we're going to do it. And I went, shut it the fuck down. Absolutely not. You're going to take me kicking and screaming into that damn operating system. We should sue them. I don't know. There's nothing to do there. I'm just bitching at this point. Pardon me. XP was the best OS ever. I agree with this, actually. Vista, I do like Vista, but that's how I wish these normal jumps between OSs were, because I do like XP over Vista, and Vista, there are some things that I don't like about it. Some of the, and really what I don't like about Vista gets really too technical, so I'm not going to get into it. I'm talking like in the operating system level, like kernel level weird bullshit. Don't worry. Again, I know I'm dashingly handsome and I have a robust social life, but I am still at my heart, I am a giant fucking dork on all things traditionally nerdy. So I do know my tech. But they were so minor. They weren't it was more like, this bugs me, but it's not a deal breaker. You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of going, yeah, this restaurant serves Pepsi over Coke. That sucks. I'm not going to drink the Pepsi. I wish it was Coke, but okay, I can still go to this restaurant. It's not like the restaurant flipped their entire operation the night before, and now instead of, let's say, like genuine Chicago-style pizza, it's themed individual deep dishes, and it's some weird sort of novelty restaurant. You know what I mean? I wish those were the jumps still. I wish it was just, I'm not a big fan of that, instead of, oh my god, what is happening here? Yeah, we all remember Windows 8 before Windows 10 was 8. I hate them. Why did we skip 9? Why are they pulling a Mega Man, right? Like, why are they going Mega Man 8, Rockman and Forte, Mega Man 9? How dare you? How dare you screw that up? Everybody knows Rockman and Forte was Mega Man 9. Sherry! Oh my goodness, we are blessed with just a lovely ray of sunshine and a beauty all her own. What's going on, Sherry? I'm always happy to see you, whether it's here or on all the other streams around our crazy community. Always lovely. Oh, ever lovely to see you, and you are ever lovely as well. Let's see. Yes, it is a damn motorcycle jacket, and I see what he's going for. I just don't like it. It looks better in the art that Dan Moore. So the thumbnail tonight is the featured image is obviously James Gunn standing back to back with David Cornsweat Superman. It was drawn by my boy Dan Mora, one of the best artists, or at least one of my favorite artists right now. It looks good there, but I think that's because It's a different medium. Dan Mora he doesn't have to, he doesn't have to obey all the laws of physics. He can make the curves on that jacket. So it works in drawing, but yeah, I'm just not a fan of how stiff it looks. MCU lines, dude, I have complained about them since phase 2 when they really got the fuck out of hand. But when they unveiled the suit and I saw them, I'm like, what is the actual point of any, like, it doesn't add anything. I think it worked on a couple MCU suits to make it look like they have more padding, to make it look a little more realistic. Captain America's, both his Avengers and Age of Ultron era suits, like that was what they did a lot of it with that. I think that it works in that instance when you're adding like plates and armor, and those were just like delineating lines. But then out of nowhere, Marvel just started adding them to everything for no reason. I love Thunderbolts. Like we talked about it last week. Thunderbolts is an amazing movie. I cannot recommend watching it enough, even with how much we've been burned by the MCU and with how much I do not personally think everything after this, I don't have any faith in. Like, I'm not excited for Avengers or Doomsday or Secret Wars or that stupid Spider-Man movie that they're going to drop in the middle of them. But at least we got this gem of Thunderbolts. But the thing that like really pissed me off was you got this amazing Sentry suit, and then they get like, not only do they do MCU lines, but they do this weird MCU, it's all gold, and then his blue suit has like, his gold suit has like blue MCU highlight lines on his chest, but only on the bottom part of his like pecs. And it just looks so stupid. And I don't know, we are past the point where audiences can't, or like, how do I put this? We have passed the point in pop culture where we have to worry about audiences looking at superhero costumes and going, that's stupid, nobody would wear that. I mean, yes, that's what started with X-Men in the 2000s when we took away their costumes and we gave them those black suits because all the Hollywood execs went, you know, a guy running around in big bright yellow spandex trying to look like a threat. I don't know if the public can buy it. But we are in 2025. We've had not only the, original Fantastic Four and Spider-Man and Ghost Rider and all that and all the X-Men, but then we've had the MCU going for 20 years. You can just give people their comic book costumes. Everybody lost their mind when Spider-Man at the end of No Way Home was swinging through the air in tights, in slightly shiny, no complication, no nanotech, no textures, just a regular tights superhero suit. So just do that. I don't know. It makes me so angry. Yes, love the color palette, nice and bright, inspiring. Kingdom Come S is awesome in theory, but way too damn small on this suit. Yeah, I've noticed that too. I think that's also another thing that bugs me. As we'll see when we get into the trailer later, guys. The S is good. It is just slightly off. Not enough to be like pointing it out to everybody where everybody notices like it's small. But it's one of those, you didn't notice it, but your brain did, and it's gonna poke at you and it's gonna bug you. Let's see. We have Sakuramita asks, any possibility of a comic book crash? I mean, that's a big loaded question, right? It's always a possibility. The industry is not in a really good spot right now. There's actually an interview I've been sitting on that I wanted to write an article about from Scott Snyder, the writer of Absolute Batman right now, one of the best books currently being put out by any publisher. He talked to AIPT Comics, one of my favorite news outlets for comic news, about what I'm trying to do with Absolute Batman is really recapture that sense of reading like monthly comic reading, right? Where you get to the end of the page and you go, whoa, what happened? Like, what's going to happen next? I really want to see the next issue, where every month there's at least one or two scenes in each issue that, fans are going to want to run out to see, even if they're not big revelations that introduce a character that's going to get their own movie, and now that issue is going to be worth $500. Not even that, right? They just sorry, I got distracted again. Where was I going with this? Okay, so yes, Scott Snyder with his interview. So he was saying, like, I want to capture that monthly sense so that people want to come back every month and, you know, read Absolute Batman. You guys, especially, you know, if you've read comics and not even like in our post, you know, 2014 post virtue signaling world, I mean, probably even back around when Bendis started being a really big driving force at Marvel, you know, the Ultimate Spider-Man, New Avengers era. Love all those books, but Bendis has this habit of spending too much time sort of on the minutia, you know, humanizing everybody. His strength is ground level heroes and those interconnected, you know, or not interconnected, but those really intimate one-to-one sort of conversations, relationships, deals. His Daredevil run is one of the best, period, right? Like, I will put him up there with Frank Miller on his Born Again run. It is that good. His Ultimate Spider-Man, I know Andrew's going to crucify me because he definitely doesn't like it, but his Ultimate Spider-Man, everybody felt real there. Everybody, that was a big appeal of it, was that instead of feeling like comic characters on a page, these characters were talking and they were having normal conversation, and that made everything just feel more alive. Too many writers, himself included, went and, you know, we have a 5-issue arc. Issue 1 is off to a great start. Now 2 and 3 are just going to be boring exposition where everybody just sort of sits there. 4, you're going to get a big, you know, the big climax conclusion. And 5 is a complete issue where it's just everybody sitting around asking, what do we do next, right? Like picking up the pieces. And Andrew and I hold this all the time. A lot of stories are being made for trade. We've run into this a lot on Foil Variant of, this book kind of sucks right now, but it'll probably do, like, it's probably going to be really good to read in a trade paperback format. I say the next sentence being the biggest fan of the series and of the creator herself. Peach Momoko's Ultimate X-Men is a really good example of that. It is a great book. It is a beautiful book. It is super intriguing and super interesting. But I can go 3 or 4 issues without really having anything to write home about. Andrew will ask me on the weeks they drop, he'll go, hey, how, he doesn't care for Peach. He's not a hater. He's just like, not my style. So he's not reading Ultimate X-Men right now. So he'll ask me, he'll go, how'd you like it? Or he's like, what's going on over in that corner of the Ultimate Universe? And I'm like, nothing, like not really anything. They're all sort of moving. They're getting their plans together. So Scott Snyder was saying that's what he wants to recapture. And he was saying, and in service of that, he was saying, I really want to recapture that and bring back that spirit because it's the only way we're going to survive as an industry in the face of, like, the economic conditions we're facing. And that include, you know, that's not just President Trump's stupid dipshit tariffs that he doesn't know anything about. It's also things like President Trump's dipshit recession that he's putting us into. It's the devaluing of the US dollar that the fucking president has done. It's all of that, you know, related shit. And then even things Trump hasn't done, like just the overwhelming rise in cost of living, all of the shit, all of that economic shit. It makes it really hard for people to go, well, I'm going to go spend $10, $15 on 2 or 3 books, but I would do that, but I got a budget for my family. I've got kids coming, blah, 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 blah. So they have been, and they will continue to be in a precarious situation. I think right now they might be at the strongest we've seen them since we've hit that post-2014 era where everything kind of really went downhill. That's where I always delineate things, guys, just in case you wonder why I keep saying 2014. 2014 was when Marvel did their Marvel Now initiative, where it was the, you know, post-Secret Wars. It introduces Riri Williams. Miles Morales is now on the 616. Kamala Khan is now a character. That big push, even though I objectively like two of those characters, Riri is, I don't think is redeemable really, unless you give her a really big, like, she has to take a real big, like, sweep. Like, she needs to get knocked down like 700 pegs and to become relatable and likable. But we've talked here a lot. I like Miles, and I liked Kamala's early, like, her first run. The problem was when that era was the start of the social justice online and all that crap. So that's when we started getting all the virtue signaling, all the, oh, we can't have white superhero characters, all that sort of stupid crap. That was that's where, so before that era, we were in a somewhat healthy state, right? Like the mid 2000s to that point, you had things like the New 52, which, quality aside, it was a big banger of a seller. You had Secret Wars, you had what was I reading? 2006, 7, 8, you had Civil War, which, again, we can debate the merits of the story for years. It was a big selling point. It was a big revitalization for the industry. But then they hit that virtue signaling and everybody got sick of it and everything started crashing. So that's what they're trying to recover from. I think they're at the best point they are right now, honestly, with, we're getting a lot more quality books. Where I used to have to, or where I used to go, through the entire year of releases in 2015, I liked maybe 3 or 4 issues, and I really had to pull teeth to find, like, to either compliment them, or whatever we got was a 1 in a million Thunderbolts style situation, right? And but now we're getting, I can name several books offhand that I would go, if you want comic books right now, go read these. These are really good. We're also seeing smarter moves from at least DC in their publishing sense. Their compact comics move, smartest thing, I think. Like, they should have done it earlier, and that's, on them. That's egg on their face. They left money on the table, but at least they're doing it now. I think making those super cheap, compact, easily readable versions of their comics is what gets them into people's hands. And especially when you distribute them in places that aren't just specialty comic shops or video game stores or whatever, right? I see the compact comics at Target. I see them at whatever odd Barnes and Noble I happen to be in. My little sister loves books, so she always, wherever we are, she always, she probably like Googles, is there a bookstore around here? Finds a Barnes and Noble and goes, can we just go look inside? And I go, okay. And I see them in there. I see them in regular sort of mom and pop hobby shops out here in Arizona. Like when I'm going looking for Gunpla model things, I have to go to like regular model kit stores, and they always have, they've started having compact comics. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get, right before we started the show, I took a shower and my hair and all the crap I put in it didn't sit right. So I keep looking like either, my good self, or I start looking like a weird Leonardo DiCaprio. So obviously the threat of a crash is always there, and it's not something they're going to eke away from anytime soon. But I do think we are in a really good spot. We've got Ultimate Spider-Man. We've got the Absolute line right now. And not just Ultimate Spider-Man, we've got the Ultimate line in general. So I don't take it for what it is. Yeah. Sakura. Okay, buddy. I'm gonna be real with you. Sonic didn't really do that big of a thing for Hollywood. You keep, every other week, right? You keep asking, do you think Hollywood is shaking in their pants because of Sonic? Do you really think Sonic made them fear that oh shit, Sonic is going to blow up all their operations? Nobody, as much as we like to, doom and gloom when we're all together, nobody is sitting out there going, I want to ruin these franchises. Nobody sits up there and says, we have the license to X-Men. I want to make the shittiest X-Men possible, right? These executives are trying to make something that the masses will like. Again, they're not really on point. They miss a lot, but they're not saying, I want to fuck this up. They want their movies to do good so that they can make money and go keep buying more underage prostitutes and blow. But the problem is that they don't understand any of this, so they just keep crashing and burning. What Sonic showed them was not, oh shit, everybody is turning on us. It was, okay, fans really resonated with that. Let's start, being closer to source material. So nobody is crapping their pants and losing their job. Everybody at worst, they're going, okay, we have to eat crow and go, let's start listening, or let's start sticking to the source material close more. And, I think we are starting to get more of a cultural turn towards that, towards respecting the authors and their source material. Obviously, these things take time to roll out. I would, two of the examples that really jump off of my head are like the Super Mario movie and Superman. But the thing is, I'm so hesitant to actually cite those as examples of we're starting to listen to source material more, because James Gunn and Shigi Miyamoto, they're just two guys who are not going to fuck around. You know what I mean? So Sonic the Hedgehog was not this where, we need to kill Sonic, get Sonic out of here. How dare he show us how to make a movie? It was just a moment where they went, oh, people, okay, now we genuinely see this test case A, test case B experiment of, we gave them an ugly fucking design, we gave them an accurate design. What did they like? Oh, they really resonated with that. Oh, it really turned into billions of dollars? Awesome. Let's keep going, right? So yes, Sonic was really good, and it did do a lot, it was really adherent to the source material, but it doesn't really have that big of a place in this overall cultural discussion. Zero says, Miles and Kamala are fine. Riri needs to be completely remade as a character. We're not going to get into it because I really just genuinely... What is going on with my monitor right now? Hold on. I'm getting all red. There we go. My flux, punk. My flux was starting to kick in, and I didn't realize it. But, we won't get into it, but that Ironheart show is going to be such a disaster because... Cider pointed this out. If you guys watch us Wednesdays over on the Bounding Into Comics channel, Cider pointed out that this sort of exactly what we were talking about a second ago, Sakura. Ironheart's one of those leftovers from that era of when they were trying to be really virtue signally, really over the top with, girl bossing, black magic, all that sort of stuff. And so you see that in the trailer, and it looks really, really fucking bad. And yeah, it just looks bad. I don't know what you do with the Riri Williams character after this. My biggest problem with this is that, so the premise of Ironheart, the show, is that she apparently gets, booted out of MIT again, or gets in trouble at MIT again, and still wants to build her suits, but she doesn't have the resources or the money. So she links up with the Hood and starts committing a bunch of crimes to steal the money. Okay. We've seen that sort of origin story for a lot of heroes before. Cap's Kooky Quartet, Wanda, Pietro, and Hawkeye, they were all, Wanda and Pietro were straight up terrorists, and Hawkeye was a repeat felon. There's nothing wrong with having characters start out on the wrong side of the law with good intentions and, reform. The problem is, you've already had Riri fighting on the side of the Angels with fucking Wakanda in the Wakanda Atlantis War. So after standing side by side with the new Black Panther and the Dora Milaje, I guess, and the whole of Wakanda, it's really hard for me to go, oh, so you didn't know any better? You're, for lack of a better descriptor, you're almost to being an Avenger at that point, because especially with how Marvel treats the MCU. You know better than to go link up with criminals at any point. Even if a normal hero, right, would have gone, that's tempting, but I'm not gonna, I can't help you. I'm gonna find a way to do it myself, and then probably would have gone and stopped them and arrested them. So that premise is just so odd to me, and it really makes me raise an eyebrow, because you're taking the black youth character that you really want to push for representation, and you're just keeping her as a common thief. We can do better. Not to sound fucking Brianna Wu or Zoe Quinn or anything, but we can do better with black characters than that. you know, if you wanted to have her be a thief, make somebody get held hostage, right? That's it. I could see that. Riri, we have your mom. You're going to use your tech genius to do this for us. Otherwise, we kill her. And so Riri's complying, but she's struggling with, I know I need to, how do I defeat them? How do I break out of this? Because I'm a hero. This isn't that. All we're getting is the usual, I linked up with criminals. I wanted out. They won't let me out. Now I have to fight my way. And it just doesn't make any sense. And I still reject, and here's another piece of it I reject. She's at MIT and she's getting in trouble and they're like, we're going to kick you out. You're in blah, 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 blah. She built fucking Iron Man armor and saved the world with Wakanda. Like the new legendary city that just arose maybe 6 years ago in continuity. Everybody would be pissing themselves to have her attend their school and to throw whatever the fuck resources they wanted at whatever she could develop, especially if they entered into agreement with her that said, you use our resources, you can have, or we'll have some patents, we can market off of it, right? It's what the fuck? And then you're telling me that Shuri, Miss Queen of Wakanda, isn't gonna go, oh, hey, Shuri, or Riri, thanks for all that help. Here's your own fucking bazillionaire lab that we're going to keep funding because we're Wakanda. If we sell a nail of vibranium, we can have $7 billion, right? It's just, none of it makes sense. It's going to be, and so I know it's going to be bad because one, that show is coming out in a month. They just dropped that first trailer. There's no advertising. There's been no interviews. There's been no posters or billboards or any of that shit. There hasn't been a Riri push in the comics. She's not in any comic right now, right? Like, normally if a character's having a movie, they get a mini series or they start popping back up in a book. She's still gone. So, so they didn't really put in any effort. And then they announced that they were going to drop the trailer on Wednesday, the same day as Superman, after Gunn had already done that weekend announcement that, stay tuned for something on Wednesday. That's just suicide. Even if it wasn't Ironheart, right? Like pick a fan favorite character of ours. They announced a new Ant-Man movie or something, or a new Cap movie with Chris Evans. You're going up against fucking Superman. Okay? Like one of probably top 3 biggest cultural icons ever. Everybody knows Superman. Even if they don't know his identity or his stories, you go superhero and they go, oh, Superman, right? Like, everybody knows it. He's the archetypal hero. You don't put you can put trailers up against it. Sure, it's still a dumb move. But if you're doing something like Jurassic World or Mission Impossible or some really heartfelt drama, that's a different audience, right? In a different sector. You don't drop another superhero trailer with Superman. That's just putting it out to die. So, and then the third thing is Ryan Coogler is an executive producer on this movie, right? And that is simply, or on this show, and that is mainly because he handled the character in Wakanda Forever and has handled the Wakanda stuff just for Marvel in general, and has like 2 or 3 more Wakanda related projects in the pipeline. So he is only attached to that show in the sense of like, oh yeah, this is what I have plans for. Oh, this is how I approached Riri. He's not sitting there writing anything. None of this is coming from his mind. Yet they're trotting him out. They're going, Ryan Coogler is doing a walkthrough. He's doing a behind the scenes thing. Here's an interview with Ryan Coogler. They're only doing that because Ryan Coogler is on fucking fire right now because of Sinners, which I still have yet to see, but I heard is amazing. So they're obviously going, if we can get people to think Ryan Coogler was super attached to this, we're gonna make a bazillion dollars. But it's so sad. It is just one of the most pathetic things I've seen in a long time. Yes, that I don't even remember how we got here. We just went to Riri. Oh, hey, check that out. Andrew says, I apologize for being late. Was having a rare long chat with the DNA counterpart. No, we are not about to have a comic book crash. Hey, I'm always happy to have you, my main man. As always, guys, this goes out to Andrew and the rest of you. I consider it my pleasure, my honor, my privilege to, invite your time to have you guys spend a couple hours with me. So, if you can't make it, if you've got things to do, don't worry. I will never, reach out after the show and go, Corey, Zero, where the hell were you guys? I'll just say, I hope you're having fun. I hope you're doing something not stressful, and I'll see you next week. But I'm glad to have you. We've been talking about you. We had a little bit of Emma Frost talk a little bit ago, but I'm glad you're around for when we start getting into real topics. Let's see. Oh, hey, check that out. Volume Dealer is here a little early. What is going on, my man? It's always a pleasure to hang out with you. Wolf says, I don't think a single person in this chat loves the Sonic IP or the films as much as I do, but that movie didn't put Hollywood on notice, despite what some YouTubers may tell you. Yeah, that's exactly it. Because not everybody is immediately going to change everything. What they got from it was, this is an option. This is something, they just got market research out of it. How they're going to use it? Question marks. But they now know people like accuracy or fidelity of source material. And hopefully that translates into more good things like, the Century in Thunderbolts. But yeah, nobody is, there's no dartboard with Sonic's face on it being, having darts thrown at it by like Warner execs or whatever, even though, holy shit, once we get into topics, which we will soon, we'll talk about Warner Brothers. They are in a bad spot. Let's see. Yeah, IH is going to be awful, but the usual suspects know Marvel has to release this turd no matter what. That's exactly it. Oftentimes, guys, things, there are contracts, there are deals. Sometimes you have a stinker and you've just got to dump it. That's where you see a lot of releases in like January of every year. That's where studios will just dump shit that they contractually have to release because they signed it, but they know nobody's going to really care for it because the box offices in the early part of the year, or January, February, they're usually pretty fucking dead. Everybody's sort of wiped out from the holidays, both financially and energy-wise, and they're all still sort of enjoying their whatever presents they might have already gotten. So, video games and trips or whatever. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just we got to dump it out. Let's not spend too much money on promoting it, and it's gonna be really bad. Yes, I've gone woke. Of course I've gone woke. This is the gayest stream on YouTube. Of course it's woke. Man, I wish I had a button where I could turn the blue color into like a rainbow. 1 second. Had to blow my nose again. Volume Dealer says, no, Marvel needs to remove the commies and Marvel needs to be reset and mostly all the female characters in the last 15 years erased. See, I don't agree with this read. This to me, I get where you're coming from, Volume Dealer, but this is the reactionary read to me, right? Because it's so easy to blame all your problems on another group, especially when you don't have, when you can just sort of point at the group. The commies, the female writers at Marvel, when that's never really the issue. That's what everybody wants you to focus on because that's how they keep us divided and that's how they keep us at each other's throats. What we should be looking at and who we should be blaming are individual writers and individual editorial decisions, right? For example, Tom Brevoort has been there for 40 plus, 30 plus years at this point. He's a straight white guy. I think he's a big part of the problem. Same with Nick Lowe, straight white guy, 40 years old or something. He keeps making all these really bad decisions for the Marvel comics. And then, Gail Simone, who we all, understandably would recoil from in years past because of her crappy takes. She's writing the best X-Men book, not just of this run, but it's going to go down in history. And it's just one of the best books they're putting out there. So that's why I'm always so reluctant, especially even in my writings on Bounding or here on the stream, to blanket label things because there are individual problems out there. And as soon as you take out those individual elements, that's when you start getting better, quality stuff. There could be somebody who wants to write a story about a transgender superhero that has an idea that could be the greatest. It could be a really damn good book. There could be a feminist writer out there who really does want to write a story about the female struggle. There are creators, and so to that end, there are creators out there who can handle that very well. I give her it, it's all dependent on the topic, on the subject matter, yada yada. People can do it. The problem, one of the bigger problems, is just the people who can't do it are the ones who keep getting validated and keep getting their way. For example, check this out. And I'm glad you're here, Andrew, because I don't know if you caught this and we didn't talk about it, like you and I personally. So a couple days ago, or last week actually, on like Thursday, Jonathan Hickman, the current top dog, at least in mine and Andrew's opinion, of Marvel, the guy who's written he's writing Ultimate Spider-Man, he did the Secret Wars miniseries, he did that awesome Avengers World stuff, and he did the X-Men Krakoa era, or he at least kicked it off. He did an interview. So in his interview, he's talking to some YouTube channel. I forget exactly who it is. Go check out the article on Bounding. Just search like Jonathan Hickman. Go maybe give that guy's video a like. He's a very small channel, which, just side note, that's one of the cool things I like about comic book industry, is that even like really small guys like that, he can still get an interview with Jonathan Hickman, right? I think that's pretty cool. But more to the point, so his host asked Jonathan Hickman, what's your biggest creative disappointment, right? And he goes, the Krakoa saga. And he's like, not because of like the content, not because of the story, but because I didn't get to finish it. And I heard that and I went, that's crazy. I wrote, I started writing an article about it. And if you guys have heard me talk to Andrew on Foil Variant, and I've mentioned it a few times here, especially when Emma was announced for Marvel Rivals, the Krakoa story started out with a really strong premise. Remember, this is Jonathan Hickman. This is Mr. Ultimate Spider-Man. He's not a hit or miss person like Jason Aaron. He's pretty damn consistent. So Jonathan Hickman starts off the Krakoa era, and the Krakoa era, if you guys read his original stuff, so from House of X and Powers of X to the second Inferno volume, it's about 2 or 3, 4 years. He intended to tell this story honestly, and this is, I know this is going to open the floodgates for some hot takes in here, but I think my dumbass can navigate this pretty well. But he actually sort of meant it as a bigger commentary on, the idea of an ethno-state, in the sense of both the divisions that were happening in America and the existence of Israel. Because, Israel goes to such great lengths to try and defend itself, to the point where they just massacre innocent civilians wantonly and don't really care, because they have that ethnic mission, right? That cultural impetus to, what am I trying to say? The cultural impetus to stay together, make their homeland. So that's what Jonathan Hickman was going for. All the X-Men were not supposed to be taken as good in Hickman's original thing, right? Professor X, Magneto, the Quiet Council, we were supposed to see yes, they're taking charge, but this is dangerous. They're saying, oh, Sabretooth, don't punish him for crimes, we'll take him. If you're a villain or a terrorist, as long as you're a mutant and you say I'm cool, you can just come onto Krakoa and we won't turn you over to the authorities. They're, one of the most chilling moments of that entire run to me is actually in the first issue of House of X, where Cyclops, so the Fantastic Four are chasing Sabretooth and they capture him, and Invisible Woman sets up a barrier, puts him in a cube. As soon as they capture him, Cyclops appears through a Krakoan portal, and he's like, we'll take it from here. He's a mutant, problem. We'll take him. And the Fantastic Four are like, I don't think so. And they have this sort of what do you think you're doing, Scott? Do you really, are we going to have a problem here? Is this a weird jurisdiction thing? And Scott goes, never mind. You know what? Well, let's be cool. I want to keep this cool. You're our friends. You guys deal with Sabretooth. And so then he's like, you guys take care of it. I'm going back to Krakoa. And Sue, goes, do you guys really think this is the best way to go about this? Like, just forcing yourself into the conversation. And Scott goes, we've been pushed around for forever. What are we supposed to do? How else are we supposed to protect ourselves? And she goes, like, if you go down this path, you're going to get, like, on everybody's bad side. And he goes, well, all I'll say is tell your son he has a place with us when he's grown, because Franklin Richards is a mutant. That's a terrifying sort of subtle threat. Yes, Cyclops isn't going to come and steal Franklin, but he's going to try and put Franklin in this really divisive position and invite him to be one of his weird ethno warriors. So that's what Hickman was going for. And he actually had everything planned out for like the full 6, 7, 8 years of that Krakoa story. In writing that article, I found an old interview from him with Entertainment Weekly about so what happened was Hickman wanted to, or let me restart this section of my thoughts. In this Entertainment Weekly interview, they are interviewing Hickman because it is the end of his time on the Krakoa run. They're talking to him about Inferno. And they ask him, so why are you leaving the X books? You had this really big elaborate plan that everybody knew about, everybody's talked about. What's the deal with that? And he goes, well, I had everything planned out. And, we did phase 1 of the Krakoa stuff. Then it was time to go to phase 2. And I had 3, 4, all that sort of fun stuff. When I made the call to the editorial or to the X office, like all the writers and stuff and editors who were working, and I said, it's time to start phase 2. Are we all ready? Everybody went, no, we want to stay in phase 1, because phase 1 was where they still got to play around with, yay, we're happy mutants. Like, we actually have a haven, because at that time, it's the Quiet Council being all fucky wucky, and the rest of mutants being just, along for the ride, sort of buying into the dream. That's what that's sort of what I'm talking about here, right, Volume Dealer? Those are, there are men among that group, there are women among that group, there are, liberals to commies to maybe a closet conservative somewhere in there. But that's a bunch of different people in that X office who all said, we don't want to go on this plan. And they fucked that up exceptionally hard. Like, that everything post-Inferno, everything after Hickman leaves, is really, really Tumblr embarrassing. So we just need, people to, it's honestly a culture of toxic positivity. We need to get back to being able to go, that's a bad idea, or no, I don't think I want to implement that, and anything like that. And see, absolutely the best X-Men book since the 90s. And see this, Volume Dealer, America Chavez, Ironheart, Kate, Gwen, Spider-Gwen. I don't think any of these characters are inherently bad. In fact, I liked Kate Bishop ever since she was introduced in Young Avengers, all the way back in 2006. I think the original America Chavez wasn't really fleshed out. She was sort of just like a background character. But I think you can do some really interesting things with that character. Even though that character sucks asshole in the comics, I really, really liked her in Doctor Strange. The way Xochitl, I always forget how to say her name, but Xochitl Gomez, she was adorable. She wasn't Iman Vellani adorable, but she was adorable enough for me to hop on board and say, I can see this as a good version of America Chavez. Ben Reilly, right? Like I can point at Ben Reilly, and so many people went, get rid of this kid. And also, hey, shut the fuck up, Andrew. I know you are typing furiously at this point. Be quiet. I know a lot of people go, oh, especially during the Clone Saga, fuck Ben. Like, why are we doing clones? Like, he's such a bad character. And for a long time, nobody knew what to do with him. Same with Kane, right? Or actually, Ben's a fine example. Kane's a better example. Let me switch this to Kane, because in the 90s, you had Kane, who, okay, we're doing a bunch of clones of everybody. What is Kane? Super edgy Spider-Man, who is just brooding, emo, Evanescence Spider-Man. There's really no other depth to his character other than to show up and piss off Peter. Yeah, kind of a super weak character. Nobody really liked Kane after that run. However, Marvel then, in, 2010, got Christopher Yost, who's one of the best writers, onto that Scarlet Spider miniseries, where Kane sort of, has his come to the light moment, decides he wants to be a hero, moves out to Texas. And that's one of the best books ever. And Kane is a great character nowadays. He's, admittedly, with what they're doing with Ben, he's the second best Spider person, in my opinion. And so, yeah, Ironheart is one of the harder sells. She has a really shitty character. But I think if a talented writer can 99% of the time take a shit idea and make it work. So but that's the problem, is we really need to start putting the pressure on like the individuals rather than just saying, oh, Marvel Comics is like crappy. Marvel Comics needs to crash. Instead of that, you go, we need Brevoort out. Storm them, go Brevoort out, Brevoort out, Brevoort out. Make sure it's specific so that they can't just push it off onto another vague entity. Oki, what is going on? Yes, I saw Oki is in the chat. He had a chat, but then everything jumped, or he said hello, then my chat jumped, but I'm glad Oki is still here. He's still talking. What's up, Oki? Pleasure to have you. Oki says, I never read the X-Men's Krakoa era, and what I heard about it didn't exactly pique my interest. I only read it because it was the big X-Men thing at the time, right? Like, I actually only read it when it was getting near the end. I went back to the very beginning and sort of took in the main stuff just to get context, just to see where we were at, just so I could talk about it fairly. And that early stuff, I do like the House of X, Powers of X story and the foundations they lay. There's a lot of scary stuff. There's a lot of good stuff. It's just they didn't let Hickman do what he wanted to do, and so everything sort of fell apart from there. Sort of, look what happened to Metal Gear Solid after Kojima left, right? Now we got Metal Gear Solid Survive. Ouch. Yeah, see, I knew you were here, and that's why you shut up. You shut up. You get out of my store. Kane greater than Ben Reilly? At current, I couldn't disagree. And not even at current, for the last 10 years or whatever, ever since they brought back Ben for the Jackal saga, where he was now the Jackal and he was cloning people, and Nick Lowe needs to go. Yes, Andrew says, get rid of Brevoort and Lowe and toss them into the lake of fire. You know what? I'll do you one better. They can still have jobs in the comic industry, but they get to go be the publisher and editor for Ethan Van Dipshit over there, right? They have to go work in that dumpster heap. But enough of my, but Leon says, oh shit, I was just joking to trigger you. But yeah, I didn't even finish that Jackal saga. It was so weak. I know you were razzing me. I totally get it. I know you guys. You guys are my friends. We're all on the same level. So I got the joke, but it's one of those moments where it's like, you joke, but you're kind of right. And yeah, that original Jackal, or not, it's not even an original Jackal saga. It's like the 5th Jackal saga. Saka? What's wrong with my pronunciation today? The like 3rd or 4th like Jackal saga, and then they were just, it was so stupid. And we don't need to get into a Ben rant. With that, yes, I have been rambling, going on that very, very long diatribe about Krakoa, about the X-Men, about Sonic the Hedgehog. How about we talk about some actual goings-ons out there in the world that you and I and we and Sabrina Carpenter occupy? Let's jump on over to our web. No, that's why I caught myself, because I was like, Sokka? The only Sokka like word is, yeah, Avatar. I know, I know, buddy. I know you have been waiting for me to shut the fuck up and get to the Final Fantasy stuff. So we are going to get into, let me make sure I have the right things for us to jump over here to look at. All right, we do. Yes, enough of Mav's ADHD pretentious babbling. Let's talk about some things that are going on. Well, first, Oki says, I don't mind Ben Reilly and Clone Conspiracy because it was implied that, as a clone of a clone, he wasn't quite the same character, but then Marvel flip-flopped and I just don't know anymore. Here's the problem. That can make sense, and I get that. Like a clone of a clone of a clone is deteriorating. The problem is, like, that wasn't what they, that wasn't what they approached. That wasn't the pitch, right? It was, let's make Ben evil. And so they worked backwards from that. And so that just makes everything weird. And then, as you said, as we got near the end, oh no, I'm the real Ben. Nope, I'm actually a clone of Ben. Oh, who the fuck knows anymore, right? Like, this all ties into my greater unified theory, or not even theory, my greater unified research paper. I don't know what you want to call it, but it ties into the thing that I keep pointing out, that Peter isn't actually Peter. The Peter Parker we're seeing now is a ghost. It's because the version of Peter now is not Peter Parker. Peter Parker died when Doc Ock died, and they swapped bodies. The brain that Peter has now is just like his memory. It's a ghost imprint of him. So, yeah, that's going to be too complicated to get into. So, I hear you, Oki, but let's get into, yes, first topic. Final Fantasy. Who loves Final Fantasy? I love Final Fantasy. You love Final Fantasy. You love Tifa. I love Tifa. We all love Yuffie. Shut up, Andrew. But, that being said, I know not all of us are super jazzed on Magic the Gathering. We play, we know the cards, especially, but I especially know that in recent years, Wizards has been really, really shitty and really, really fucky-wucky with a lot of how they handle their releases, a lot of their product choices, a lot of their releases and everything. And, that's why I said shut the fuck up, Andrew. Yes, Timon says, I loved Final Fantasy, not anymore. That's a good point. I'll get to Square first, but let's talk about Wizards. In recent years, yes, I can incorporate it all together. In recent years, yeah, as Timon pointed out, and as I was getting into, both Wizards of the Coast and Square Enix have been really, really rough with their IPs. The Final Fantasy brand has gone through a lot of ups and downs, especially with like mobile games. I know people do like Final Fantasy 16. I did not play it. I'm sort of not a fan of the big, Game of Thrones palace intrigue vibe it was getting. So it didn't land for me, and I know it didn't land for a lot of people. Aside from that, 15 was rocky in its development with the whole cancellation of Versus and the attempt to make a big multimedia project where everything tied together. So then you had to go watch an anime movie to get the full story. They've been messy over there at Square. And then, of course, at Wizards, like I was saying, the way they've chosen product, the way they've released product, the way they've handled prices lately has just been absolutely off the walls. Before we get into the Final Fantasy set, this is one of the things I wanted to bring up specifically to you, Leon. Let's, where is that link? There we go. Oh yeah. So, one of the big problems is, like I was saying, Wizards has been really shellacking the hell out of their customers. To be frank, it feels like they're trying to make up for their lack of, like, their dwindling player base by charging those who still are hanging out way more. And so this is probably one of the more egregious things that I have seen in a long time out of Wizards. So Wizards runs this thing called Secret Lair, which is a very it's timed drops, usually of very special cards that they're either crossover cards with other IPs or special artist collaborations or special themes. One of my favorite themed sets is sort of rockabilly skeletons on motorcycles. They did a whole set of those because they made a whole set of those. I like it because I put it in my Ghost Rider deck because it's very thematic. So these sets usually run about $40 to $50 for 7 or so cards, or $40 to $50 for the foil versions of them, 30 to 40 for the non-foil versions, and you get 7 cards. So it's about $5 a card, $2 a card. It all depends, but it's not out of the, like, it's not usually ridiculous. A couple of weeks ago, they released a Secret Lair set proper. I think it's still available. Let's double check this. No, I don't want a bundle. I don't want any of that. Let's just view all. What do you got? What are you buying? What are you selling? No, it didn't sell out. No, you're kidding me. That's going to be really disappointing if it actually sold out. Wow, it did. Okay, so this is what I was going to, like, this was the opening salvo, is a couple weeks ago they released this Adventures of the Little Witch set, which was a set of 4 cards by this artist named Heikala, who very, very cute style, as you guys can see here. Very, soft Ghibli almost. We've seen it around. I'm a big fan of this sort of watercolor anime cutesy style. So great cards. I ran over to, I wanted them. I went, okay, cool. I'll pick up the foils. 4 cards. They decided they wanted 70 for this shit. Absolutely not. No way. That's why I was so surprised that it sold out. Like, that was crazy. So that, like, was insulting to me. And I refuse to buy that set for, $70. Fast forward to this week where Wizards released their first Secret Lair Commander deck, which is, for those who don't play, Commander is a format in Magic where you take one specific leader card, it could be any given character, and you build a deck of 99 other cards around it with no repeating cards except for lands, of course, or cards that say you can have multiple blah 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 blah. Don't be pedantic on me. But so Wizards, they said we're going to release our very first ever Secret Lair deck. 100 cards with a bunch of reprints and some new artwork. With the artwork is actually not great for, like, the new stuff. It's very, how do I put this? It's very Urban Outfitters white girl. You know what I mean? Like, they profess to have a really cool style that everybody wants to get aboard, but it really is very, very niche. It's really weird. Like, what the hell am I looking at here? I don't really want that. Where's the one specific card that I've been saying this to my friends? Like, this card, this is evil white girl energy. I'm like, I don't know how else to say it. This art, it just gives me that vibe of, like, the most toxic girls we have all known in our lives, right? The ones who go, I love my boyfriend, or I trust my boyfriend, and then demands to know where he is at every fucking second, or takes everything wrong, like, as a slight, and demands her way when Starbucks is out of a cookie, even though what the fuck are they supposed to do? So this entire deck, 200 cards, everything within it, I saw like an analysis of it. It's about $70 worth in the, like, actual card value, like the playing value. $200 for this deck for 100 cards. To be fair, 100 foil cards. $200. Leon says that Soul Ring, looks like something on a shirt at Earthbound. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is evil energies here. So, Wizards has been really dropping the ball a lot lately. The other thing is, we talked about a couple weeks ago, they announced earlier this year that from here on out, all of their Universes Beyond crossover sets are going to be completely legal in every format, which meant that they were going to bring so what are we getting this year? We are getting Final Fantasy, Spider-Man, and Avatar: The Last Airbender to bring it all together. And they said, okay, all of these are going to be, like, legal and standard and everything. We're going to bring them to the online clients. So there's Magic the Gathering Online, which is sort of the big online full suite version that they have. And then there's Magic the Gathering Arena, which is a mobile UI version of it. It's still full Magic, but it's just, like, it's made for mobile so that there's, like, time limits and stuff. It's kind of cool. it still costs real money to play those games, so I'm going to stick with my paper collection where I actually have something that I can physically hold, right? So with those sets, everybody was super excited. Yes, we get to use Final Fantasy in regular play. We get to use Spider-Man. And then a couple weeks ago, they said, oh, by the way, you're not getting Spider-Man for no reason. We're going to, you're going to get all the cards, all the card mechanics are going to come in, but we're going to re-theme them to Magic. And everybody went like, why are you doing this? Why didn't you just fight for the entire license? What are you guys doing? So they've been, stepping in it a lot lately. However, I can't deny it, guys. This set, wait, do I have all of them? Do I have all of them showing? I think I do. Their Final Fantasy set is, it's one of those instances where you can tell everybody who worked on the set either A, really, really, really loved Final Fantasy already, or B, understood like we need to treat this with the utmost respect. Oki said, it's said that toxic creatures tend to sport bright colors as a warning. I'm all for bright colors. You guys know me. I'm colorful all over the place. I love my foil cards. I love my foil variants, right? This is just, I can't put words to it yet. And I've been trying to describe it for like a week. It's just, it's evil energy, Ricky Bobby. Like it feels, if I saw a girl either drawing this or like a woman either drawing this or, had a sticker of this or a print of this in her room, I would be looking to maybe not leave immediately, but I definitely don't want to, pursue this any further because I know that this is basically, remember for all my other literary nerds out there, in Dante's Inferno, the great epic Italian poem that is my favorite piece of writing in the history of anything. Abandon all hope, ye who enter, that sign that was above the cave that Virgil and Dante went into. That's basically what this sort of like art style is. It's this, and then this is just another dating tip for all of my guys out there. Women who are super, super, super into theming everything over Hello Kitty, right? Hello Kitty or Kuromi, run for the hills. They tend to be very, 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 very cute and very pretty. I get it, guys. And they share a lot of our interests. If they've got a Hello Kitty thing, they probably play video games and watch anime. Don't fall for the trap. Don't fall for the trap. Alrighty. There we go. Leon is out of here. I have another stream in 8 minutes. I'll talk to you all later tonight. Love you too, my man. I'm glad that the commander deck was the main thing. I will probably, I'll send some things to you. Make sure, turn your Discord DM notifications on, and I'll make sure to send you exactly the Final Fantasy things I wanted to highlight. But go have a good stream. Thanks for hanging out with us, my man. And yeah, I will talk to you very, very soon. Oh man, I didn't even see this. Punk says, calling it a night now. I'll watch the replay of the stream tomorrow. Adios. Hey, go get some rest. I hope you have more cool weekend plans. I don't know how you topped last weekend, but thanks for coming, Punk, and I'm sure I'll talk to you soon. So, like I said, this set is just every card every time they reveal a card, everything just makes me laugh. It just it makes me smile because I'm like, this is exactly what I would have wanted out of a Final Fantasy card. For example, where was it? Let's see. Yeah, so you guys might have seen me talk about this on Twitter if you guys followed me, but one of the things that made me go, okay, we're in good hands here, is that the set has 16 Sid cards. All the same text, all the same ability, but they reprint it with 16 times with different art because Sid is that's the joke, right? In Final Fantasy, that there's always a Sid in every game. That's incredible. And you can also have any amount of them in your deck. It's great. Look at this Clive card. I don't even particularly like Clive, but this thing is, I'm going to fight people. I'm going to scrap people to get this full art print of Clive. Let's see. Where was the other one I particularly wanted to highlight? So, for those of you guys who don't remember, so there are, in the Final Fantasy set, every game is being represented. There are 4 commander decks that are being made, themed after Final Fantasy 6, 7, 10, and 14. But don't worry, like I said, everybody's getting a bunch of, like, everything. So you've got your Kane, you've got Kefka with new, Yoshitaka Amano art on both sides. Like, they got Amano back. Nomura drew a new thing for Sephiroth that we will definitely touch upon when we get down to him. Where was it? There, like, here it is. This is what I was looking for. Phoenix Down card, right? This card, you play it, you can choose one effect. You can either return a creature from your graveyard, so bring it back to life, or if you cast it against an undead creature, like a skeleton or a spirit or a zombie, you kick it off the field, you kill it, which is exactly what would happen in a Final Fantasy game if you use you can do that. If you didn't know that, go crack open any Final Fantasy title, go find a skeleton, and go to your item menu, Phoenix Down, pick them, throw it at them, instant KO. It's one of those fun little just bits, the one of those fun little details that Square put in that they translated perfectly for the Magic set. There's also so this is crazy, guys. All right. So, he went away. Obviously, we weren't going to get out of a Final Fantasy set without a Sephiroth card. However, they got Tetsuya Nomura, the guy who does all the art for, Final Fantasy 7, 8, 10, Kingdom Hearts. He was the director of 7 and pretty much everything that's come after, like the compendium stuff. He drew this new Sephiroth art. And like I said, since these cards are also mechanically reminiscent of Final Fantasy, this card, or this Sephiroth, will transform into Safer Sephiroth. However, this is for my other FF7 heads out there, you'll notice that yes, this is Safer Sephiroth, but he's slightly different. He's more human almost. He has his other arm. He's sort of sitting. We haven't seen this version of Safer Sephiroth. This is actually new. Nomura had to come out and be like, "Yep, I drew that, and I can't really talk about it." So, are we getting a new Sephiroth form in whatever the 3rd remake is going to be? I don't know, but everything about these cards just makes me super happy that the art's great, the card effects are all super, super on point, and I can suplex the train, guys. We can suplex the damn train. We can go like Bart's and we can suplex this shit. With you deal damage to a target or you exile an artifact. It's the little details, right? These are the little details. They could have easily just made just thrown art onto random cards. But they went the extra mile to make sure both Magic fans are happy, and that I'm not going to get into the details about how a lot of these mechanics are going to link all together. Eventually, I'll start the TCG show, and we'll talk about it there. But I know that's going to bore about 9,000 of you who are watching into a coma. So we won't get into it. But yeah, the effects, all of this stuff, I encourage everybody to just go look through the cards, and you'll be like, oh man, that's cool. That's really cool. That's really cool. That's really cool. I dare you. I dare y'all not to. I thought there was, dang it, I had something I was going to point out. I guess it's not on this page. What was I going to point out? Oh, right. Obviously, we've been over here on the web page, the web layout for a while now. You'll notice that our stream buddy is Zach Fair from Final Fantasy VII. And it is his art from his card in this set. And the reason I picked him specifically, I like him. I love Final Fantasy VII the most. But, he's not my favoriteest character of all time. But I picked him because his card makes me laugh. So, if you play Zach Fair, when he enters, he has a 1/1 counter, which means, you know, he gets a little buff. But if you tap 1 energy and you sacrifice him, target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Put Zach Fair's counters on that creature and attach an equipment that was attached to Zach Fair to that creature. This is like, for those of you who don't know why I'm like laughing or smiling, this is Cloud. So for the spoiler for Final Fantasy VII, Cloud is not who he says he is. He actually steals a lot of the life story from Zack, who was his friend in Soldier in Shinra while they were coming up through the ranks. At the end of Final Fantasy VII, or at the end of Crisis Core, and then, you know, prior to the events of the actual Final Fantasy VII, Zack saves Cloud from being annihilated by Shinra because they both abandoned their posts after discovering what's going on. And Zack dies in the course of doing that, and he gives his Buster Sword to Cloud, and that's where Cloud enters Midgar. The whole train sequence happens about, it's only like 2 weeks after Zack dies, and Cloud sort of rewrites his history. Exactly. That's Zack passing his strength and the Buster Sword onto Cloud. I read that card and I just went, like, you guys got it. You guys did it so well. And he's even cheap, right? Like, you don't need to pay a lot because he isn't really a big part of the plot, like, actively, but he does play that role in, you know, kicking off everything, essentially. So I'm really excited for these cards. I have them all on pre-order, of course. I'm even going to go to my first Magic draft event, mainly because a buddy is doing it. Of course, I'm going to keep an eye out on all the Tifa cards I possibly can for my boy Andrew. But, man, just, I'll admit, when they announced this, I was very, very nervous because I was like, oh my God, are they going to nickel and dime us? Are they going to treat it all crappy? Are they going to give it bad art? Was probably my main concern, because I think we talked about this a little bit ago or a couple weeks ago, because I made her a stream buddy, but my Sharona, yes, I collected so last year Wizards did a full year set of Hatsune Miku cards, where every season, spring, summer, fall, winter, they released a new Secret Lair set, all with original art. And some of it, right here, actually, no, forget this. I'm going to go to the main thing real quick, because I'm going to show you the rest of them. We need to go to, let's do Miku. No, that's not what we want to look at. Oh, Spencer's boomering all over the place. Secret Lair. All right, yeah, I'm just gonna have to Miku search. So, you know, as they release the sets, some of the art, so this is the first set, and some of the art is really, really good. This Miku, adorable, like very, very anime inspired. This one, clearly a Western take on, you know, the anime style, but they still made the aesthetic work. It doesn't look like Kappa Mikey, right? Then, wait, is that the one I want? Yeah, I guess this is the page. Damn it. Damn you and all of this scrolling and stuff. So, but, you know, to be fair, like, there were these ones are, this is another, like, realistic Miku, but it's kind of a little wacky. Then we had this Sakura Miku. Hey, look at that. Almost like one of our guys. She's, you know, it's a good piece, but they went too hard on making sure the anime eyes were anime eyes. So the set started off, you know, good, but a little wonky, but you kind of expect that since it's not one artist in particular doing everything. Then, you know, as those sets started coming, they started getting weirder and weirder and worse and worse. So, you know, here's the second set. We got this beautiful Miku of Alara, who's actually the leader card I use in my Miku deck. We got this really cute picture of Miku and Kaito and Mako, the other Vocaloids, hanging out with her. But then we got this really, really weird one of the other Vocaloids, like Rin and Kagura, or Kagami. Like, what the hell is this? This is really, really bad. Like, this is, you went too Western here, right? So like I said, they started getting weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder, and like, okay, I don't know about that. Then we got this weird set of Planeswalkers where we got weird American K-pop fan Kaito, and then like, ooh, husband, like Miku, like almost Chinese Miku. It's so weird. And so, but then it's weird because then you get, a card that looks like this. Absolutely beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. And then everything just fell apart in the final set where, look at, like, I'm going to pull up each card, but I don't know what happened here. This card, okay, kind of pretty. I'm about it. I don't like the princess theme or the outfit on her, but that's a good looking piece. This Giada, I actually really like this one. This is one of the coolest ones, especially in foil, to look at. She looks great. She's radiant. She's smiling. Then, okay, what's this one? Oh, she's touching snow. A little on the hyper realistic side, but I could pass with this one at least. I could ignore it. This Brago, not bad. Again, a little Western. I would have gone a little more colorful and fantastic, but there she is, a snow queen performing in front of a giant throne. Then we get, pretty normal swan song, but then you look at the card longer, her face, like they got too strong on her jaw and her face, and she doesn't look like Miku. She looks like a guy cosplaying as Miku. Then we get to this weird card where it's supposed to be a counter spell, and it's supposed to be her saying, like, no paparazzi, no, don't go. But she's like doing a peace sign pose. Like, somebody clearly mixed up things in communication. And then the thing I was talking about specifically, this abomination of a Miku card. I laugh at this one. This was what I made the stream buddy a couple weeks ago. This thing cracks me the hell up because it is so bad. So I was like worried on this level that this is the treatment that the Final Fantasy cards were going to get, but we haven't. So that all being said, Wizards, stop charging $200 for a damn commander deck, and also take your victory lap with your Final Fantasy set, because I will give it to you. Like, everything works. Where is this? Where is that one? Yeah. For all my Final Fantasy X heads out there, like, here's Farewell. When at the very end of the game, when Titus and Yuna say goodbye, you can just exile. You can choose one effect, and you can either get rid of all artifacts, all creatures, all enchantments, or all graveyards. Absolutely ridiculous effect, but also that's the proper treatment or like the proper effect for this card. So, in conclusion, thank you for coming to my Final Fantasy commercial audition. No, I'm kidding. In conclusion, guys, you're going to be hearing a lot more of this out of me in the coming months, especially once the set drops in June. I will have the card game layout and all that ready to go with the full-on like camera pointing down at my desk. So we'll have a lot of opening, and we'll probably, we'll open the cards. We'll get into them more there. We'll be able to talk about the creatures and the subject matter, and I'll be able to hear from more of you guys about what your favorite cards are, what you like, what your favorite Final Fantasies are. So buckle up for that. But aside from that, I just wanted to fanboy. I'm super excited about these cards, and it's only going to get worse. It is only going to get worse, my friends, once that Spider-Man set drops. You all know it. I'm not going to shut up. You're going to need to mute me. I'll be okay if you unsubscribe for that like short amount of time, because I am going to be, they're going to make a Ben card. There's going to be one Ben card, and I'm going to shit my pants until I acquire it. Let's see. That one looks like Leon with green hair. Oh, shit. What were we looking at? This one? Oh, yeah, let's go back. Oh, yeah, that's definitely our boy, except this one looks way more straight than the actual real-life reference. Andrew says, can I get rid of all FF10 references? No, you only can't, because then you get rid of Brotherhood. And Brotherhood is objectively one of the coolest main swords in Final Fantasy. I'm sorry. It's a translucent blue water sword. What do you people want from me? Shut up! But you're probably right. They'll make one Ben card and it'll probably be Chasm. I mean, you're right. And that makes me sad. You are not the only friend, because Andrew has told that to me multiple times. You're not the only friend who keeps reminding me of it, but I clearly just keep pushing it back down into the bottom of my brain because I don't want to accept it. I'm already mad that the 5 starter decks that they're making for the Spider-Man set are... Surprise, guys. Take 3 seconds. 5 Spider-Man characters. Pick 5 Spider-Man characters. You don't need to type them out because I know that'll take a bit for all of you. And I know people are watching in the VOD and all that fun stuff. And some people are just watching me without chatting, which is totally fine too. 5 characters from Spider-Man. You got them? Guess what? You probably nailed them to a fucking T because there was no inspiration in Marvel marketing creativity, right? And that's... If Wizards said, let us have our pick of your Spider catalog, we would have gotten some cool choices. But because, of course, this is Marvel, 1, Spider-Man. Okay, cool. Pete. Spider-Gwen. Where's Spider-Gwen. Miguel, 2099. Miles Morales. Venom. 2 of those are cool. I'm good with Spider-Man and I'm good with Venom. I could see a good argument for a 2099 deck since he's such a different Spider-Man. I guess you got to have a Miles deck, but it's like, I don't know. Give me like a Daily Bugle deck, right? Like make me a deck where Jonah is the leader and I have to keep investigating and getting clue tokens and something like that. Or give me there's a chance they do this with the Venom deck, but instead of making the Venom deck something that just revives from graveyards and uses the black color, make it something that the Venom leader makes a symbiote token and you attach that symbiote token to another creature, like an opponent's creature, and you take it, right? It's all yours because now it's connected to the hive. A man can dream, but we will definitely be getting into that. I'm so excited, guys, to finally do sort of just chill, hang out, open card packs, talk trading cards, talk nerd crap, talk all the art and stuff on them. The setup is looking cool. I made a lot of... Now that I'm sleeping again and I'm really energized again and my brain is resetting, I've been so productive this week. I've made so much progress on the new layout and intro and can't wait for you guys to see it. Make a Ben Parker deck and it's a black mana undead one. I'll do you one better. Make it a Ben Parker deck that's a black mana deck, a black mana undead one, but also no black cards have this yet, but give him the inspiration mechanic, which is anytime you enter combat, as long as I think it's like if you don't tap this creature, other creatures you control get a +1/+1 counter that stacks over turns. Boom. Put in Ben, let him stay as the voice of reason in Peter's head, and keep boosting your Spider-Man cards. You know what I mean? All right. I know that Oki and Tehillim and Sakura have some comments. I will get to them in just a second. You might have noticed that I've switched over back to my giant-ass water bottle for streams because that small orange one, I talk too much. I get dry-mouthed way too easily. That being said, I now need to urinate, so I will leave you all to look at this beautiful, beautiful Miku. I will be right back. Take a second to refresh yourselves. Maybe you go to the bathroom, grab a drink. As soon as I'm back, I'll answer your guys' comments, and then we will be getting 100% into Superman. I will be right back. Off to the bathroom. man. Whoa. Okay, so we're back. We're here. It's time for Superman. Okay, guys, this is a really weird occurrence, so bear with me through both the explanation and the rest of the stream. Right now, I just went to go get water and go to the bathroom. As I was coming back, I blew my nose because I had snot in it, and obviously you can kind of tell I'm out of breath right now just from coming up the stairs because I'm still recovering. But as I blew my nose, I what do you call it? I got pressure in my ear now. So it's like this is all clogged up and this is weird to the point where like I was walking back down the hallway and I was all wobbly. So if I get weirdly discombobulated for a second at any point for the rest of the stream, bear with me. I definitely need to get this popped somehow. There's no medical emergency. It's just like my ears won't pop for some reason. Anyway, you don't care about my weird medical, not even real medical problems. You don't care about my weird goings-ons. What are you guys up to? First of all, I know Tehillim is here. What's going on, buddy? Shalom and good to see you. He just got back home from collecting my comic haul in the city. What did you get this week, buddy? There was so much that dropped. Really good stuff. A lot of the One World Under Doom stuff, but I still don't really care about it. I can't bring myself to... I read the Thunderbolts Doomstrike mini, which is... because it is like Doom's Thunderbolts versus the original actual Thunderbolts, save Citizen V. Citizen V is there, but it's Valentina instead of Zemo, because Zemo is... I don't even know where Zemo is in current continuity. But that's been fun, but that's because of, shout out to my other big T-Bolts boy, Timon. He and I love that team, so of course I was going to pick it up and check it out. I just really don't care about anything else. Oh, actually, side note, the Red Hulk miniseries that they're doing because of it is actually surprisingly fun. I only picked it up on a whim because I was like, oh, this is going to be terrible. Let me read what they're doing with Red Hulk. It's actually pretty solid. Once it comes out in trade or whatever, I would definitely recommend people pick that up. Let's see. Oki says, it's as if folks who never watched anime looked up a few tropes and tried to figure them out for some of those Miku cards. That's exactly it, right? Andrew and I have talked about this because I'll actually bring up just a quick example. I know I'm not going to stick on this very long, guys. I know I want to get to Superman as well. Don't worry. There's a lot to talk about. We've got things going on. But let's see. Where's a good example? Yeah, this is actually a pretty good enough example. All right. So what I'm saying, Oki, is check this out. Compare that Miku card to, this is an inset panel from the TMNT Naruto crossover that's currently being published over by IDW. The artist on this series, and this is something Andrew and I have talked about, what you're seeing here, this is, he is an American artist, a Western artist, doing a Western book technically, and, the Turtles are the main franchise here, yet Naruto there doesn't look out of place. He looks both American, but he has his big blue eyes that you can tell from, manga. He's got the sharp, for all my artists out there, it's that sharpened, J lines that we do for the anime eyes. He's got that. He's got, the small mouth. He has nostril details, but it's still not a full bridge and everything. What you're seeing is the difference between knowing and understanding why the anime art style works and what they're going for, right? The big eyes aren't just big eyes to be big eyes. They're there for youth and expression. And, normally you give the bigger, more colorful eyes to the girls because girls have bigger eyes in general. And also girls have pretty eyes. What do you want me to say? So I think you're onto something there where here in Naruto, this artist knows exactly how anime works. Over here on Miku, this artist has no idea. They just saw... That's why I keep using the Kappa Mikey reference because they just go, oh, what is anime? Big eyes, small head. This is somebody who graduated from the school of how to draw manga 101 books, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, they definitely massacred Miku on this one. It's so bad that for me, it's gone over. Oh, there we go. I knew if my dumbass would just keep talking, it was gonna pop. For me, this is like rolled over into like I ironically, but also unironically love this card because it's just so stupid. It's a scrying sheets. I have a zillion scrying sheets. I don't really need to use them because I don't use any snow mechanics. I still threw this in my Miku deck because it's hilarious to drop it onto the table. Let's see. Oki, lovely image to stare at for the next minute. Hey, I am nothing if not an entertainer, a man who likes to deliver what his audience wants to see. Shinkai, what's going on, buddy? I'm happy you're here. Always am. Shinkai says, a wacky Spider-Man deck that includes outliers like Spider-Ham and Spider-Rex and the Toku Spider-Man. You know how you do that really easily, Shinkai? You make a Spider-Verse deck. Sure, there you go. You can put Miles in there and make him the commander. Throw in all those other weirdos. Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Rex, Spider-Ham, Toku Spider-Man. I would honestly even deign to... Let's see. If, off the top of my head, if I were going to do 5 decks for Spider-Man, one just a regular NYC themed, like, Sinister Six is in there, MJ's in there, Jonah, just a general Spider-Man themed deck. Then I would have a Spider-Verse deck with Miles as the leader, and you would have all the different spiders, just making up the rest of his deck. Then I would have a clone deck, which would have a different Spider-Man leader, and I'm really hopeful that they make... There are clone cards in Magic that, let you duplicate your creatures. I hope they reprint them with, Kane and Ben and all of these sort of different themes because it's right there, guys. Just eat that up. But I would honestly make a Clone Saga deck that involved copying like Peter and turning him into Scarlet Spider or Kane or Spider-Side or any of those millions of guys. And I think like that would be cool. Then you could do, like I said, the Daily Bugle newspaper where Jonah's your leader and so on and so forth. Instead of just Venom, do a full King in Black symbiote thing. So then you can get like Lasher and all of those idiots from the Lethal Protectors, Scream. I wouldn't put Carnage in there because Carnage, I'm being pedantic, but Carnage would break the theme since he's not pure symbiote and all that stuff. But this is what I'm talking about, right? There's so many fun ideas you could do is outside of just Gwen, Venom, Pete, blah, 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 blah. Sakura asks, have you watched the Sweet Home movie? I have not. I don't think I was even aware of it. Welcome back. Oh, no, welcome back, Oki. I'm just here to entertain again. Sakura says, have you played Parasite Eve? I have. I really, really like those games. They're rough control-wise because they are the, PS1 tank controls, but I really like them. I've even played the PSP, what was that, like third birthday? I'm glad, I don't really know if I need another one. Not everything needs to be revived, you know what I mean? I'm not saying you're saying revive it. I'm just speaking off of the top of my head. Wolf says, have we seen Zemo since Civil War? He's actually in this crossover in the very first issue of One World Under Doom, when Doom declares I'm your leader now, blah blah blah. Zemo assembles a Thunderbolt. He assembles the old Thunderbolts, and he's like, all right, we're gonna no. Sorry, Zemo says, no, we're going to save the day. He leads Hydra to Latveria, and he says, we're gonna save the day, and we're gonna free the world from Doom, and then they're gonna love us, and that's gonna be another step towards Hydra taking over. But as soon as Zemo gets there, Doom he doesn't snap, but he blasts him and he pops him like a bug. And then Doom doctors footage of him and Zemo coming to an agreement. So he was there? and then he blew up. Marvel is still being weird about their Nazi characters because no Red Skull, no Zemo. It's dumb. They'll get over it eventually. At least we get genuine Nazis over in the Ultimate Comics with that crazy version of John Walker that we got. Oki says, definitely picking up the TPB version of TMNT Naruto at some point. I would highly recommend it. This series is a good love letter to both franchises. It does every character a pretty good service. Everybody stays in character. Yes, it race swaps April, but at least this one is hot, right? It's not a weird blob bean person. Exactly. This is the foil variant, what is that, pull quote that you're going to put on the cover. The TMNT Cross Naruto book has been more fun than it has any business being. Uh-oh. Shut up and check Discord. Shut up and check Discord. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, baby. So, Andrew oh man, this is the kind of good stuff we live for in modern comics. So, Andrew just showed me 2 new covers that just apparently got dropped. Let's pop. What freaking button am I looking for? There we go. He said, okay, so obviously a new art germ. So Stanley Artgerm Lau, we all know him, we all love him. He has been assigned to do the covers for the new Supergirl series. If you guys have seen them, so far they've been really, really, really good. Let me just go to Previews World, Supergirl. We all know how good he is, but let's all just take a moment to appreciate true talent, right? So issue 1 dropped with this amazing cover of Kara smiling, rocking her new / throwback outfit. Very, very cute. Issue number 2 is getting this cover, which is my favorite of the ones so far. It is Kara changing out of a casual sweatpants look into her Supergirl costume. Side note, I talked about this on foil variant last night. The reason I love this one so much is this casual blonde, like Valley Girl look. It does it for me. Like that. This is what you learn to love when you're a Southern California boy. So there's a panel in the new Supergirl issue where she's in just like open-toed sandals, shorts, and a regular like tank top. And I even told Andrew on stream last night, I was like, I'm obsessed with this panel. Like that I want to ask her out right here and then. Then we have on the upcoming issue 3, we get Kara with, she's taken to the skies, but of course she's also got our boy, Streaky the Super Cat, flying right alongside her. And then in the one Andrew just showed, Kara is standing tall, standing proud, having just beaten some alien, obviously. And as Andrew and I can attest, this probably isn't part of the real plot of whatever's going on in the book. Art Germ probably just picked he either picked a random villain or like monster design, or he just made one up. But this one, I'm glad he's doing all of them, or at least the opening arc run. And shout out to Andrew. He's been getting so lucky lately because when the X-Men relaunched, J. Scott Campbell came back and did a bunch of covers for that, and did a bunch of covers for Marvel Rivals, and now Art Germ is doing the series for Supergirl. So I know Andrew is like eating it up. The other one he showed is Richard and Peter taking to the streets of New York as drawn by Eban! Oh, man. Oh, I don't really pick up variant covers for the Ultimate books outside of the Peach Momoko design variants. This one is an immediate day one buy. This is crazy. I love this series, guys. Again, Thursday nights, 6 p.m. Central Time, foil variant, or 5 p.m. Central Time. I don't even know what it is anymore. We'll let you know. We tweet it out. But come hang out with me and Andrew for more comic book talks. Congrats, you pierced my ear. Holy crap, I'm wearing headphones. I do apologize, guys. I was going for that. I was trying to play into the the meme joke, if you guys have hung out for a while, I know Zero at least knows this, Oki doesn't. Andrew and I love Iban Cobello so much that every time we see his work, we kind of just have devolved into like screaming as if we are at a World Cup match. So I will be better. I do have a full actual graphic in the work, or like not a graphic, but like a clip in the work for whenever Iban comes out. That won't be piercing, but sometimes you got to commit to the bit. No, I want those immediately. Yes, Oki, justice for Mayday Parker right now. I don't even, like, I can't. Here's the problem. I want to get into that, but I know that if we get into Spider, like, if I even mention a Spider person, I'm going to be gone for hours and hours and hours on tangents. So, Sakura Mita asked, are you here for 4 hours or 3.5 hours? Well, I'm probably, ideally, you know, I wanted to keep the show to 2.5 hours, but we're clearly going to go over a little bit to talk about Superman. We'll probably cut it at 3. I don't want to go for like 4 hours, man. That's a very rare one where it's rare to go 4 hours, but I usually only pull that off when I have Andrew here to keep my hype levels and the conversation going. Because he and I we could do an art piece, like a art display where you just put me and him in a room for 3 months, in like a big open room in Central Park, and just say talk. And we could talk about comic books just straight until that month is over, in between pee breaks. Yes. But a good, this is probably a great segue away from, let's jump from super comic book covers, like super adjective, super noun comic book covers. Let's jump from that to a super movie. And I thought I had the trailer already pulled up, but I guess not. It doesn't matter. You guys can look at my recommended. Yes, I am one of the 4 people who still watches Cinema Sins because it's fun background music. Yes, I love Brahma Bull. He's my friend. Yes, I need to know what's going on with the India-Pakistan war. And yes, you guys know I'm a Midwest, or not Midwest, but you know I am, technically kind of a half Midwest, but also just a pure emo boy. So that's where that is. But we don't need to hear about me. Let's go to Superman. All right, let's finally get to the headline topic, I guess, if you will, of the night. So, don't know if you guys heard, but there is a brand new Superman movie coming down the pipe this summer. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt this preamble because this made me laugh. Oki says, I find Cinema Sins enjoyable as long as you don't take it too seriously. Okay, maybe laugh's the wrong word, but that made me smile because that's how I approach it. But nobody, if you tell people that, they don't get it. Like they just assume that if you're watching it, you're taking it all seriously. Even if you say to their face, like, no, I know it's a joke. I'm here for the background noise, essentially, right? So, yes, this summer we'll be getting a brand new Superman movie. Don't know if you heard about that. The Man of Steel, Big Blue Boy Scout, is finally returning to the silver screen. The movie is being directed and written by James Gunn. It is the kickoff point for the DCEU, the brand new attempt to relaunch the DC Cinematic Universe. Obviously, you know, this is going to be our first proper look at the DCEU. Yes, we have had Creature Commandos, and yes, I guess Peacemaker Season 1 technically counts, but they're going to explain that later on. But this is the real, like, kickoff, right? This is the full, lights down, everybody take your seats, we are rolling out Superman. Obviously, like I said at the top of the show, we have spent years seeing our favorite franchises, our favorite characters butchered to all hell, whether on film, in books, in comic books, in video games, whatever, what have you. We've also, James Gunn is a very divisive director. Even though he is talented at his craft, and he very, very much loves, more than anything, I know that James Gunn loves the stuff he's working with here, right? This isn't a Kevin Feige doing a job situation. This is James Gunn saying, I love these characters. I want to do them as right as possible as I can in making a corporate cinematic universe. I truly believe that, even though, yeah, we've seen some weird casting choices and we've seen some weird story beats, but overall, I think he's trying to work from a place of I really want to do right by not just Superman's fans, but Superman himself. So obviously, I was with you guys, like you, like all of us. His humor can be really hit or miss. I think in terms of his humor, this is sort of like just a quick asterisk aside. I think yes, his humor can be very grating and very inappropriate, not in like, oh, that's dirty, oh, that's wrong, but in like inappropriate timing on things. I get that, and I agree with that a lot. I think we have unnecessarily, hear me out here. So obviously everybody rails on James Gunn for that, right? Like, oh, Gunn humor, oh, Gunn humor, Gunn humor. It's a thing. But I also think we've all, like myself included, forget sometimes that, like Gunn, yes, the Marvel Cinematic Universe took from Gunn and like Whedon and got really bad with like MCU humor. That wasn't his fault. Yeah, they looked to him and they took that inspiration from Guardians 1. That's not his fault. He has no control over what Kevin Feige decides he wants to tone everything after. Because if you go back and you watch Guardians 1, 2, and 3, they've got those jokes, but they're not nearly as egregious as that, not rose-tinted lens makes us remember, but poop-covered lens, if you will. So, and then of course, there is the fact that Warner Brothers right now is just in a really dire state, right? David Zaslav, when he came in, of course, everybody went, oh, he's going to start cutting things. He's going to get everything right. Like, he's going to right the ship. David Zaslav is very emblematic. He's another representative of where we are sort of in the global society, but also in America in particular, where it's too easy right now. So many people are willing to leap and jump at whatever base promise you give them without demanding to know how it's going to work, without demanding a game plan. You know, whether it's Elon Musk, whether it's David Zaslav, whether it's Donald Trump, the way the world operates right now is one of these guys just says something and then everybody goes, yep, he's going to do it. He's going to be the man for the job. And then they are completely, clearly incompetent. David Zaslav has not saved Warner Brothers. He's made it worse. They posted a 50% loss in their gaming revenue this last quarter compared to last year because they just didn't develop anything. They had no games. That's bad leadership, right? Like, so right now, the deck is stacked against projects like these. Thunderbolts, right? I love Thunderbolts. It's a great movie. That's a rare exception these days. Jake Schreier clearly made a deal with some devil to be able to have the amount of creative control and freedom he had while still operating within the framework of we got to set up Avengers Secret Wars and all that stuff, right? That all being said, this trailer, I will be 100% honest. I love this trailer. I watched this. So you guys know I was really jazzed about that first preview where Crypto wakes up Clark. I didn't really, I like seeing a beat up, vulnerable Clark. There are too many people out there who are, a lot of Snyder bros who went, oh, this is so stupid. Superman doesn't get hurt. Why are we showing him as weak? And I'm like, he gets a shit kick. One of, if not his biggest story after his origin is the death of Superman. What the hell are you talking about? And so, yeah, I was really jazzed off of that first one. I thought it looked really good. But of course, always cautious, always cautious. Like we were talking about a little earlier, wasn't really jazzed on the suit when I first saw it. I was behind David Corenswet as Clark, as Superman, but I held like, I got to see him in motion. He looks a little goofy standing like just in those promo pictures, or not even promo pictures, like set pictures, which understandable. You're on set, you're in the middle of things. There's no post-production yet. There's no lighting corrections. There's, effects to be added and whatnot. So I was like, I just got to see him in motion, and then I will know like my feelings on him as Superman. So we saw him in motion, and just I have nothing but positive things to say about this trailer. There are things that I personally like. Any complaint I personally can think I have with this trailer is a nitpick, and it's just me being a pedantic like comic book nerd. And that's what it's one of those things where I would go, "Hey Andrew, this is like they totally forgot that in issue 435 of Action Comics, Kara and Cal actually revealed the name of the Fortress of Solitude was actually the Fortress of Aloneness or whatever." But then we would go, "But we get it." We would let it slide. It's not a big egregious thing. It's one of those we get it. You're changing it for the medium things. So, yeah, I watched this trailer, and everything just hit for me. Everything worked. I saw Superman as he should be. I saw a Superman who fights for truth, justice, and the American way. I saw a Lois Lane who is there to, like, she's a Hellcat. I saw a Jimmy Olsen who was actually Superman's best friend. I saw a Crypto who was not just being treated as a CGI joke for kids. This movie is going, like, I'm very, very hopeful for this movie. I admittedly am not really hopeful for anything that comes after, because it's a really big, ambitious slate to make a bunch of crossovers, and they've already canceled a bunch of stuff, and things are just sort of all up in the air. I don't know about anything post-Superman, but I think we as a world are about to at least get a really, really good Superman movie. And that being said, let's get in. Well, first I'm gonna turn to you guys, but then we are gonna get into this trailer, because 3 minutes of just so much things for me to geek out about. Andrew says, I'm actually genuinely looking forward to this film now. I've gone from cautiously optimistic to actually hopeful. Same here. Like, I'm fully aware I could get, I could be the next recipient of a Fell For It Again award. I'm okay with that. Like I said in the title of the stream, I'm excited for this movie, and I will not apologize. I know that as the proprietor of Bounding Into Comics, of a site that is very critical of the way all of our stuff is being treated, people would expect me to just launch into, this is bad, fuck you, like, don't touch Superman. I'm not John Trent. I'm not JDA. I'm not a dipshit who just sucks his own cock. When things are good, I will praise things that are good. When things are bad, I will call things out, even if they're on my own side, right? Like, I'm not a partisan asshole. I'm somebody who thinks we all deserve better between the treatment of our adaptations, the quality of the games we get, the people that are put up as our leaders, both politically and socially. All of us deserve better. And so I think we're genuinely getting better here. Zero says this movie is looking real promising. Well, dang, Mr. Pessimism himself is ready for Superman. And I'm just teasing you, buddy. Don't worry. I know you have gotten a lot better about not being super negative about everything from the jump. But yeah, exactly. It does look real promising. That was actually, Andrew's referring back to the MCU humor. That was actually more them taking from Joss Whedon than Gunn, in my opinion. It's a combination of both, because, Whedon did that first Avengers, where they had a lot of that Whedon humor. It worked in that movie. So Marvel went, oh, people do like that. But then we got Guardians right after that, and they saw that Gunn was able to endear genuinely the weirdest, no pop culture footprint characters possible into, like, the MCU and into pop culture. To everybody loves them. Everybody knows the name Groot. You go back to talking to, like, 18-year-old Spencer in the middle of reading the Annihilation Saga and say, in the future, everybody's going to know about this weird plant king who first appeared in a Tales to Astonish way back in the 60s. I would have said, how did you get in my room? I'm calling the cops. But then I would have said, that's wild. I don't believe you. So to that end, what happens, at least in my theory, in my guess, is that they saw that Gunn was so successful bringing those characters into the zeitgeist. As we all know, Hollywood and specifically Marvel execs, like, they don't learn the right lessons from movies. So instead of going, yes, he was, he gave it heart and he, picked really likable leads and he made sure everybody had chemistry and so on and so forth. They went, we like that humor, everybody laughed alongside with them. The dance off, oh yeah, let's lean into that. That way we can endear any character we pop out with the audience. And then nobody knows how to execute it well. I think the honest to God, the last time I can personally remember laughing at a Marvel joke was, well, I actually laughed at a lot of them in Thunderbolts, but that's an exception, right? So like, I was going to say the last time I remember laughing was that Alexei joke when he rolls up in the middle of the desert after they've all escaped from the vault and he's like, Yelena, she's going to kill you. Like, that would normally, like, they've done that before, Marvel has, but Jake Schreier did it in a way that it didn't undercut everything that just happened and it didn't kill the mood. It wasn't out of character for the guy doing it, right? It wasn't Bucky doing it. It was the Red Guardian, which works. So I don't even know where I was going. Oh, but before that, I don't remember the last time I laughed at an MCU joke because the jokes weren't natural. It became almost like a mandate. Like, we got to make sure there's a joke here. We got to make sure there's a joke here. We got to make sure there's a joke here. So I'm going to blame both of them. I'll blame Whedon more. That's fair. But I'm going to blame both of them. Oki says, not a big fan of Superman's costume. Oh yeah, I don't think the extra detailing suits his character, and I don't know why he has the Kingdom Come symbol, but at least he's got the red trunks again. Oh yeah, you came in a little late. We did talk about this at the top of the stream. I'm not a fan of the lines on the suit. I like the design of the suit. I don't like the MCU lines, and I don't like that it is stiff like a jacket instead of a little more tight and form-fitting. Aside from that, I'm pretty about this costume. I actually like the yellow version of the Kingdom Come symbol there. I have no problem with it being there. I also don't think there's anything more deep than this is a new symbol, right? Like, it is a different take on the Superman symbol than we normally get. Even Snyder, to his credit, did the like typeface S for his Krypton symbol of hope, if you will. So I'm all about that. I get that from a marketing perspective. And I also think, I don't know if Gunn meant for this. We'll probably learn in an interview in the foreseeable future. But I like the idea that, he's wearing the Kingdom Come symbol. The Kingdom Come comic is actually really, really close to what they're doing in the movie here, which is a Superman who is disillusioned almost because everybody is so pedantic and so red tape about saving lives, and he gets mad at the current generation because they're just being like wanton killers and just sort of listening to the corporate masters. So I think all of that works together, and so I get it. If it's not your personal preference, I'm not going to sit here and demand that you like it. That's just my thoughts on it. Big kudos for saying the American way. I mean, that is the slogan, and it will always be. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't think our country is great right now. I think we are in one of the blackest periods of our history, of our records, of our stains. But the American way isn't about what we're doing right now. It's supposed to be about that ideal, right? That we all should be united in chasing that hope, that freedom, that liberty. And so I don't want to abandon it, even if I think we probably won't have a country in 3 weeks, right? It's a part of Superman. Andrew says, I don't really like any of Gunn's slate after this film, but I think this might be a genuinely great Superman film. Of the things announced so far, I can't think of any that is really leaping for me to remember. Pardon me. Sorry, Andrew just sent me another cover. Pardon me. We won't get into it because it's another Spider-Man one, but I'll message you, Andrew. I'll gush about it in a little bit when we're done here. So anyway, yeah, I can't think of anything even when I try to think of like what projects has he announced, right? The only one I can really think of is, well, there's Supergirl and Lanterns. Those are the only two I can think of. Even though I know I've written articles on all of the things he's announced, I can't even tell you what's coming down the pipe. I'm going to be honest. The Luca Guadagnino or whatever his name is, he's a great director and I know his work. You guys know how bad I am with names. The Luca Guadagnino Sergeant Rock movie, that was supposed to be like a World War II war movie. I was really hopeful for that because I'm like, that is different. That's a super, like, that is respect to the comics because those war comics were a big part of DC, of pop culture. And you can make Sergeant Rock, you can intertwine it. They've intertwined Sergeant Rock into, you know, Final Crisis, into modern continuity a bunch of times. The fact that they canceled that kind of breaks my heart and makes me go, oh no, maybe this won't be the true, pure celebration of the characters that we were all expecting, and it's going to be just more corporate slop. That's why I, like, don't know anything. I have no take on anything that's going to come after this. But I am so excited for this one. Yeah, but if you exactly. If you never allow yourself to hope, what's the point of anything? That's exactly what we're here with our Superman about, man. Yeah, this is a hopeful Superman. Shinkai says, I like the cape, but still iffy on the random lines. Feel like you could cut half of them. Cut all of them. I'm done with MCU lines. Like, just, they offer nothing. I said this earlier when both of you, actually, all three of you, funnily enough, probably weren't here. The MCU lines worked in the beginning because they weren't just randomly thrown on. They were like seams and plate delineations like you would see on a realistic version of that costume. Then they just started throwing random shit in there. And now we have the Sentry with a perfect, almost comic book suit, but he has weird blue highlights under his boobs. It's always a bad design choice. Stop doing it. Yeah, exactly, Andrew. People forget that those war comics were at one point outselling the superhero comics hand over fist. That's why I was so... You can do it. Like you can do a good... A World War II movie? That's going to bang anyway if you do a good one, especially... And I know Luca's filmography, he would have done a great job. And then, you know, you tie that into a superhero universe and you go, look, there's stuff in this for everybody. Even if you don't like traditional superheroes, here's your damn World War II thing, right? And then probably something like Supergirl is going to be like, here's your big out there sci-fi. So it's just such a bummer that we're not going to get it. But what's not a bummer is this trailer. So guys, let's hit play. Let's talk about everything that's going on. I will obviously be stopping this along the way because there's just so much to get into. So, all right. So first off, we open with, I love this scene. So we open with Lois and Clark, or Clark giving an interview as Superman to Lois. Oh, I need to turn the audio on. Hold on.
Superman.
Sure.
Let me rewind that.
You'd let me interview you as Superman.
Sure.
First off, Rachel Brosnahan, I don't know. Again, a name. What do you want from me? She looks like Lois. This is pretty damn crazy to me. When they cast her, I know I've seen her and stuff, and I know she's a great actress, and I was like, I actually think she's going to be a good Lois, but I was apprehensive on a fan level, just like, I don't see her as Lois. But kudos to the costuming department for the way they did her hair and the clothes. B, to Rachel herself for embodying this version of, like, embodying Lois. The Lois we get here, like, this is the reporter Lois. This is the Lois who, if I'm sad, obviously she's doing her first interview with Superman here, but if she wasn't, this would be the Lois who throws herself out of the Daily Bugle just so he comes and, you know, rescues her, and she goes, Superman, Lois Lane, Daily Planet, have a word or care for comment. She's that firecracker, and so good job, everybody.
Let's do it, Cronkite.
Superman.
Miss Lane.
That three-word exchange. Sorry, three-word exchange. As soon as I saw this moment, I went, oh, fuck, we are in good hands. Like, oh, this is actually something that could be good. Because the fact that he goes, you can hear, like, he goes from Clark Kent to Superman. The change in his posture, the energy that Corin Sweat decides to lock onto, his voice, the way he's addressing Lois, the stance he takes as he like puts his hands together from being, laid back and casual. That's Superman and Clark. And I just went, oh man, here we go.
Miss Lane.
Like, Andrew, it's to the point where you and I both know, like, I do have to do some touch-ups to the foil variant intro, cutting, cropping some borders out and all that fun stuff. I want to do a new intro, or not a new intro, but I want to put just this part of Superman, Miss Lane, like, into it somehow, because it is just, I got that, and I went, it's comic book time, baby. We're comic booking.
Superman.
Miss Lane.
Recently, you've come under a lot of fire for what some might.
A lot of fire.
It's a lot.
So, quick pause here on the can throwing scene. I do want to give credit to James Gunn. In the initial teaser, they had this scene. It's Clark, obviously damaged, walking into the Hall of Justice. This leads into that really brief clip we've seen where, like, Guy uses his ring and greens out all the protesters around them. In the original version of the scene that we got, the can hits Clark's head and he blinks. That was weird, right? Like, it's not the worst choice, but it was so prominent and featured in that trailer that I went, Clark wouldn't react. Like, he wouldn't feel a can. He would just keep walking. And so how do I put this? Given that it's just a can against the Man of Steel's head, that original version of the shot sort of made it feel like he is reacting, like he's actively choosing to react and like be disappointed in that civilian, which is like fair, sure, but also not what we would see from Clark in particular. I wouldn't be against seeing that, but you would have to set that up. It would have to be a very distinct version of Clark with a reason for being a little more less enthusiastic about humanity than we know him. Thankfully, when they've re-edited it, now when the can hits, he just keeps walking, which is good because that shows that Clark, he's not all of this, all of the chance, all of the anger of the Metropolians, he understands it. He's not angry at them. He's probably frustrated with the entire situation, but he knows like these are just people. They're being led by the collar, by the leaders, by Lex, by the military or whatever to think this way. So this is what I want to see out of my Superman. So here, I'm just going to go back to
a lot of fire.
It's a lot.
That's right.
Today, the Secretary of Defense said he was going to look into your actions. That's funny.
My actions? I stopped a war.
Maybe.
Not maybe. I did.
Sorry, I didn't mean to pause, and that ruined it. So hold on.
Maybe.
Not maybe. I did.
In effect, you illegally entered a country.
This is how you're gonna be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman.
So, what do I want to say about this? I love this building tension between Lois and Clark because I saw a lot of people, lots of Snyder Bros, and lots of really disingenuous, oh, I just want to be mad at this, intellectually dishonest people, a lot of them who exist in our sphere. I saw a lot of them going, Clark would never, fight with Lois. He would never get angry. He wouldn't get frustrated. Again, did you read Kingdom Come? Where he literally goes to the Senate, or like, is it the Senate? I don't know. I think it's the UN. He goes to the UN and rips the ceiling off of the UN and says, you guys need to stop fucking around. I'm done with your bullshit, right? Like, that is, and Kingdom Come is one of the definitive, like, Mark Waid and Alex Ross, to me, it is a definitive comic book, Kingdom Come. That is, the right gravitas was given by Mark Waid, the right choice of artist in Alex Ross to make it all picturesque and statuesque. It's one of the biggest comics. You should know Clark gets angry. Clark always gets angry. Literally, if you go, and Andrew can back me up on this, what is it, 2 or 3 issues of Superman ago, when he thinks that he's dealing with, like, he gets, like, blasted with, like, red kryptonite, so he's trying to, like wave it off, and he finally gets it off of him, or like out of the range of effect, and he realizes that Lois, who's currently Superwoman, is about to fight Doomsday, the Doomsday who killed him. So he, and I think we pointed this out on Foil Variant, or at least I told you this, Andrew. We get a scene where Lois and Doomsday are this close to like connecting, and Clark from the other side of the world just all like so fast does he whip around, like he shoot for Metropolis, that I would make an argument that that might have been, I would make the argument that he actually probably touched the Speed Force, because he just fucking rips into it. Like and we understand, like when he gets there, he connects with Doomsday, and we see on his face and from his actions, he's fucking furious that Doomsday even thinks about laying a hand on his wife. So yes, Superman is human, right? That is one of the things I think the Gunn the Snyder stuff really missed, is that they mystified him, right? There is, I'll highlight it later on because there's a good comparison shot, but you guys remember how many of those shots of like Superman descending from the clouds and everybody's like, Savior, Jesus Christ, like he made him too godlike, and that's, yes, how Superman would exist in our pop culture pantheon, but if he was a real person, Superman's not a god. Of all the superheroes, he's the one who's going to sit down and be like, oh, you're playing Tiddlywinks? Can I play Tiddlywinks with you? He's that older dad who's super, super friendly and like always willing to help, good Midwestern dad, but, you know, come for him and his family, he's going to light you up. Superman and Lois fans out there, anybody who watched that show, remember the diner scene in the last season? Don't want to spoil it, but Clark can get mad. And so I love that Clark is getting frustrated at the idea of like, I should just say, like, there shouldn't be any barriers to saving people. And then, as Andrew points out, I really like that, even though I'm sure Lois is on Superman's side, it's Superman, it's Clark, she's a good person. She knows that he did the right thing, like objectively and morally, but she's a reporter and she's doing her job and she's not letting it go and she's tenacious. And I'm like, yes, 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 give us all of that. I don't think I passed over anything. This is, so obviously we've known for a while that part of this plot is going to involve Superman getting arrested and talked to by somebody. We don't know if it's LexCorp. Maybe they've said and I've just forgotten. Not really a lot to take away from this shot. You have our Ultraman, who is supposed to be like a clone, like a degenerating clone of Superman. Then we have the engineer over there. And then I think this is just really cool because I thought this was an ambitious part of Gunn's plans. And even if all of this kind of crumbles, at least he sort of pulled this part off. Right there. Does my cursor show up? No, it's being weird right now. Oh, no, it does. Cool. Over here, this guy, that is Frank Grillo, who you guys might remember as Crossbones in the MCU he was in Winter Soldier, he was in Civil War, I think that was it, but he's now playing Rick Flag Jr. in the DCEU, but he was also the voice of Rick Flag Sr. in the Creature Commando series. So Gunn has said, if I cast them in one project, they're playing that across all mediums. And I just think that's a cool thing to finally see happen, right? Like, that's kind of how I've always held you should be doing cinematic universes. I get maybe you make a video game and they're not around to record, then just wait for them to record. Don't get a yeah, an imitator, a voice actor, if you will. Bingo, Oki. I've seen Superman fly through planets in a fit of rage, and that's in the comics. One of my favorite comic or Superman stories, the Alan Moore, "What Do You Get for the Man of Tomorrow?" the birthday story, when Mongol, puts the Black Mercy on him, and it takes him into that perfect world where Krypton's alive and he has his family and everything. He, as soon as he gets out, he loses his mind, and the panel, he's like, "Mongol," and he like. Even Robin's even like, "Whoa, Big Blue, hold on." And he like gets blown out of the way just by the roar of Superman as he rushes over to kick Mongol's ass. So anybody saying that he's not angry or he doesn't get frustrated, they're being 100% disingenuous. And you can probably, if you're engaging with them, you'll know that is a point where you can unengage. Yeah, probably top 2 or 3 speed feats for Soup. Exactly. I knew you would understand. I knew you'd be with me, Andrew. That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, top 2 at least for me. Definitely top 2.
Gonna be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman. Did you consult with the president?
We'll get into it, but I actually... So, I think Nicholas Hoult is a good Lex. He's just a little young. I feel like he's a little young for the Lex we're supposed to be getting, and he doesn't have the gravitas yet, but he definitely has that hater energy, this super Lex hater energy, the kind of hater energy that says, "I'm going to make a clone of me and you, and now that's our son, and he's going to go on your side and be Superboy, and you got to deal with that shit, you butt." After this, check on Discord. I will check Sakura, but again, if however the flow of the conversation is going, I might not be able to get to it or give it the proper time, but I will definitely try to look at it before we jump, or before we close out for the night. So, yeah, well, Nick Holt still, I like him.
No.
You seemingly acting as a representative of the
wasn't
United States
representing
will cause
anybody
more
except for me.
problems around the world.
And doing good.
Again, like that's what doing good and him getting frustrated that there are barriers to this. Like I love this. This is my Superman.
I would question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die.
He says, like, the first time, even right now, it just happened again. Whenever I listen to that bit of Corn Sweat saying people were going to die, I get chills. How much does that resonate with all of us nowadays, right? We want to make things better. We want to help people. We want to, that doesn't matter where you are politically. Objectively, we want to see problems solved, like homelessness or, the income inequality. But there's so much bullshit, especially for you and me here on the ground. We're not politicians. You and me, we have our lives dictated and blocked off by chucklefucks in Washington who answer to no one but their donors. It's a really, really rough place. Change doesn't happen a lot in this country without a brutal knockdown, drag down fight with the courts. So I get that frustration. I'm that frustrated, right? I wish we could, I'm not going to get political, but like there's so many things I wish we could accomplish and do that we just can't because people are being dumb and they're not thinking about us, the people, their people. They're thinking about me and my team and my tribe, and it's destructive. But that's what I'm. Fuck yeah, Superman. Now, this was another bit that I saw a lot of complaints about. Oh, why is Superman so weak that he needs help up? What is he doing here? This is a stupid Superman. You're dumb. I have no other way to put it. What we're seeing here isn't Superman needing help to get up. He would have gotten up in a second, but this shows that connection Superman has with his city, with the people he protects. They love him just as much as he loves them, and they'll step up to fight for him just as much as he'll fight. This guy runs into the pit, just saw Superman get smacked into the ground hard enough that it made a crater. And regular dude, runs in and says, I want to help and lift him up. Superman doesn't need it, but he's taking it because it's that spiritual lift up, right? Like, it's all of us coming together. It's incredible. This is great. And also, for me to vent, fuck anybody who looked at this scene and went, oh, this is woke. Look, they're pushing an agenda. Oh, look, why did they put it on Middle Eastern? Fuck you. Shut up. This is Superman. He doesn't care, all right? None of that stupid politics shit is in play. This is a good Metropolitan man. Doesn't matter.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Exactly. If you have any issue with this, then you should have an issue with the people of New York City helping Spidey in Raimi 2, which is one of my favorite scenes of that entire, not just trilogy, probably all of comic book movies. That I love that scene, especially because they end it with, you'll have to get through us, and Doc Ock just goes, okay, boom, right? Like, that's what would happen. They wouldn't magically defeat Doc Ock there. So love that scene so much. Dozer says, that's a retarded complaint. People don't seem to understand the meaning behind the scene. The scene shows the amount of faith people have in Superman that they're willing to pick him up. And then exactly, Zero, if this is woke, then the train scene is woke too. Okie took the words right out of my mouth. Well said, Dozer. Yes, you and Wolf are on the exact same page. I think all of us watching here in the VOD, and probably anybody who checks in later on, they'll probably be on the same page. Because I know if you're checking out this show, you're a smart cookie. You're not dumb enough to fall for all these inflammatory narratives. I know you guys. Oh, so this, hold on, this bit right here.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
I think I told you this one, Andrew, so you're gonna hear a repeat. But I love this moment because it is so earnest farm boy Clark, right? I can see him, hey, eyes up here, like, get the kaiju out of here. I can see him on the farm back in Smallville, and he's, putting away the tractor, or he's putting away some hay, and all of a sudden he hears, Clark, and, Pa or Ma's like, hey, the stallion's got out of the corral, you gotta get him, and the stallion is breaking free, and it's running towards the road. Clark would immediately just jump in, farmer style, and go, hey, boy, all right, over here, follow me, over here, and try and, get his attention and wrangle him back into the pen. And so, eyes up here and then taking off. I love it so much. I am sad that because his hand is in motion, I can't get a non-blurry shot of him doing like up here, because I think it would be a great featured image for an article. Yeah, okay, good. We did take that one last night. Movie adaptations are not going to make Superman universal level. Gunn is trying to go back to the early years of Superman, basically the golden ages. That's a really good point too, Sakura. That I should have brought that up, and it's a good point to bring up. Gunn's not going for your Superman 1 million, your Goku fighting Superman version of him. He is going for that relatively early Superman. If we were to, I guess, place him somewhere, we're looking probably at a Superman closer to what he was in the Byrne eras of the Man of Steel relaunch that they did after Infinite Crisis. Not inexperienced, still a hero, everybody knows him, but he's not the big blue paragon that he eventually becomes of the DCU. Like, he's still there, but he's not mythical yet, I guess is probably where we're going. And that's a really good point to bring up, Sakura. Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. Sakura says, I blame Death Battle for this. You're not wrong. That is, I would say, so this kind of conversation has always happened in comic books and nerdery, right? Like, can Sonic beat Mario? Can Lara Croft beat Joanna Dark? Everybody's always done that, but I think you're right. The era of Death Battle and then, probably Death Battle. I was trying to think of something else, and it's going to be too much of a rabbit hole for us to go down. But yeah, like the Death Battle era of let's boil everyone down to who wins a fight and who doesn't win a fight. I know I said it a second ago, and I have engaged in them before in the discourse before. But the whole Goku versus Superman, I actually kind of hate that question because Superman wouldn't fight Goku. He would go and hang out. They would be friends. But to be fair to Oki, if we are addressing the Superman versus Goku question, yes, I agree with you, Oki. Superman does win that competition. Like, we'll go Soccer Amita style, right? And even if we do a death battle and we put both of them at their absolute maxes, Superman 1 million lives in the sun and is immortal. I don't really know what you're going to do against that, Goku. I really, really don't know. Yes, the cape does look good. I really agree. They're doing CG right on the cape, at least. Small thing, I like not afraid of getting the suit dirty. Yes, I don't think I realized that consciously, but I do like that, Shinkai. I think I have noticed that. It shows him raw, real, actually getting in on the action. Side note, that's one of the things I kind of really hate with cosplays is a cosplay may look amazing, but because, they spent hundreds of millions of dollars, or not, okay, that's a little much. It's not fursuits. Because they spent so much money on the suit and time making it or whatnot, they don't want to get it ruined. And of course, if you get it all dirty and messed up, it's going to look wacky if you take your really professional photos. However, I always look at them and I'm like, it's a good cosplay, but it's just not a good costume. I did a cosplay once where I was, surprise everybody. I can actually probably find the picture really quick if you give me 1 second. But, so a couple years ago when I was pretty, I don't know, God, 22 or something. So forgive the setup to this picture, I guess. But when I was 22, I did a cosplay as the Scarlet Spider. And you can't see it here because the lighting is really bad. There's a bunch of flash up. But I did my hoodie, and as soon as I was done with the hoodie and done with the suit, I wore that around my house and neighborhood for like a day. And I took my dogs on a walk in it. I made sure to even just roll around on the ground for 5 minutes with them outside of our my apartment door, just to give it that worn, even if you can't, it's not fully worn in and torn and looks like I've been using it all day. Just doing something like that makes it feel like it's not fresh and new and a costume. Sort of not quite related, but we all see those posts all the time where somebody goes, "Oh, I have a Nazi flag," or whatever, and they're like, "Ha ha ha ha," and you see all the creases, and you're like, you just took that out of the package. Nobody's buying this shit. That's kind of exactly what that's how I feel about cosplays. And shout out, I don't even know if she knows I have a channel anymore because we don't really spend time together, but shout out to my friend Hannah, who is being Tina Belcher here in this photo, and living up her obsession with butts with my butt. Because you know what, guys? I'm not a very vain person, but my one physical attribute that I know I really like and have a good one of, I got a good butt. So, let's get back to Super. By the way, as soon as that music started swelling, I grinning from ear to ear. I'm even doing it now, but that's probably because I'm hanging out with you guys. So, as I mentioned this a second ago, this character you're seeing, this is the engineer, who is actually a character from the Wildstorm universe, created by Warren Ellis for his Authority book, which was sort of a more grim, dark, not boys style, but more serious version of the Justice League. So the engineer is essentially living technology, living metal. That's what she is. In this version, you'll see that she's not silver like she is normally. She's normally like a Silver Surfer, all coated in metal. What you get here is a black version of her, right? And so when I first saw this, I went, oh man, they're doing nanotech weirdness. I'm over nanotech, right, guys? I don't care anymore after all the MCU stuff. Just give me classic costumes that you have to go into a phone booth and put on. However, I learned later on that this isn't actually nanotech. It's actually, let me see if I can pull up a, what is it? Like a video of it. Yeah. Hey, shut up. I don't need the audio for that other video. I just need the other video for a second. Yeah, my bookmarks. So, if you guys have seen these experiments, it's basically like magnetic fluid. I don't know. There's a lot of science to this, but it's basically, you know, metal that can very easily be melded, and it holds its position according to magnets rather than like static bonds between the molecules. Again, I know what I'm talking about, but I also know I am a very, very bad science explainer, so I encourage people to go talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about with this. But that's actually, I read like an interview, and that's actually what she's rocking here. And I went, that's cool. That's inspired. That is a different thing that we haven't seen. So let me just, look at that. We have 50 tabs open. Goodness. And we even have like more behind that. Yes, thank you, Zero. That was the word. Ferrofluid. Yes, I knew there was a word. I was going to say it's ferrous metal, but it is that, but ferrous metal is its solid form. Science, guys. It's great, but it's also really confusing. Oki says, I don't think half of Superman's Rogues Gallery ever made it to the big screen, and the movie is pulling from Wildstorm of all things. I agree with that. So here's where I'm torn, Oki. I agree with you. It is weird that you have all of these, you know, characters you can pick for Superman. You could do a Toyman that could probably fulfill something like this role. You could do a Metallo if you really wanted to. I agree with you that it's weird. However, what am I saying? One, I think that whatever he's doing with his plot here, because again, it's not just specifically Superman, it's big DCEU. I think that you probably needed a more like wonky, like actual like physics defying character to like hack into things or whatever. And then I also think he did it in service of making sure he's building out the world, right? Because again, this film is kicking off everything, like the big old cinematic universe. It's not just Superman 2, Superman 3. So I'm torn, but I also, you know, can understand the logic of it. It is what it is. The star of the show is here. Crypto Bros, where are you at? We are going to the moon. I'm so excited to see this little guy. I'm also excited, and I think if Timon's still with us, this is one of the bits that I thought Timon would actually appreciate.
Your choices.
Crypto is a threat. Did you see that? Like, he's not just, oh, we're going to knock him to the side and he's KO'd and he was a mascot. He's our Crypto. He's still as strong as Clark.
Choices.
He ponks, he like ponks, he like smacks into the engineer. And then, oh, dang it, it's very brief. They'll probably focus on it more in the actual movie, but you can see, so when I first saw this, over here on her cheek, you can see there's like green and black. When I first saw this clip, I thought it was her nails. You know, girls really, that's like the in style now is the long, pointy, very not colorful, but very like artsy nails. Like even if they're black, they have a lot of styles on them or whatever. I thought it was that, but it's actually like Crypto hits the engineer and rips off whatever skin layer is on her face. And that's why she's so terrified. And yes, Oki, beware the dog. And I'm just, it's the most Reddit thing about me. I think I said this last night on a foil variant. The most Reddit thing about me is I am a giant animal person, especially dog person. So if you put a dog in something, I'm going to like the dog. I'm not going to go far enough to be like, can you pet the dog or whatever that stupid account is, but you put a dog in something and I'm right there. I'm on board. Exactly. Crypto is a good boy. He's the damn goodest boy, and I'm so happy he's here. And I'm so happy, again, that Gunn is treating him as Crypto and not just mascot.
Your actions.
Okay. This shot of him saving the woman.
Your actions.
I saw so many complaints
Your
from Snyder Bros going, oh, this is so stupid and unrealistic. If he actually hit her going that fast, it would be like a missile and it would tear her in half and she'd be dead. One, this is a like, it's fiction, man. We can all suspend our disbelief to a certain level. What was I gonna say? Shit. Oh no. What was I gonna say about this? Damn, what the hell was I gonna say about this? So yeah, they're going, oh, he would explode like a missile, blah blah blah, and so I once again turned back to the incredible Grant Morrison quote. Again, guys, one of my favorite authors. He has this amazing quote where I'm just looking it up real quick so I get it completely right. Quote, kids understand that real crabs don't sing like the ones in The Little Mermaid, but you give an adult fiction and the adult starts asking really fucking dumb questions like, how does Superman fly? How do those I-beams work? Who pumps the Batmobile's tires? It's a fucking made up story, you idiot. Nobody pumps the tires. And this is, to what Shinkai said earlier about how Death Battle has sort of ruined things, that mentality has ruined things, because every time, that thinking is what execs are always scared of, right? That people are going to go, oh, it's so unrealistic for that guy to smack into her and just save her. That's what execs are afraid of, even though we all know, like, we accept it. That's the way it would work. If it was real life, Superman would, come really close to us and then slow down for just a picosecond, or, not touch us, but maybe like catch us in his updraft, he would do something. But once you start giving those people attention, the people who keep going super literal and super realistic, that's where you start over-explaining things and you start taking away the fantasy and the magic of it, and things start sounding really dumb. For example, what sounds dumber to you guys? So I'm going to reference a movie thing and then a comic book thing, and the comic book thing is actually real. So what sounds stupider to you? That Superman is a guy who can fly and just save people and pick them up and put them down? Or does it make more sense and make you more invested in the story to learn that Superman actually projects an anti-physics field? So whenever he, exerts force on something, it kills all of the, inertia that would normally be coming, right? If a plane was, going nose down into the earth and Superman grabbed it by the nose and, stopped it, realistically, he's stopping it, but he's, so strong, it's a wall. So that plane would still crunch into him. It would collapse on itself. So, hey, give him the super wacky force field. You don't need that. That's just really off the top. And yes, it explains it, but now I'm going, that's even stupider than just saying he can fly, right? Oki says, well, I suppose Superman could punch that boulder to pieces, but the CGI department would probably cry having to render that. Bad news there, Oki. I get that, and actually that would be more dangerous because now you're just making a bunch of projectiles. But it is actually not a boulder. It is the foot of the giant kaiju that we're gonna see in a little bit, right? You can see the toenail over here. Or let me pull you down so you can actually see better. Like, there's the toenail, the bottom of the foot. Yeah, makes sense. Then Shinkai says, don't want to actually, but Sakura Mita mentioned Death Battle. Oh, did I say Shinkai? I totally meant Sakura. You guys know this from when I sign out. You two with your similar names, I always mix you guys up. So I am sorry. I did mean to credit Sakura. I was thinking of Sakura when I said it. Thank you, Shinkai. Yeah, exactly. Nerds! And we don't stand for nerds around here, all right? All nerds get wedgies. Oh, I gotta undo it.
That's what makes you.
Oh! I just realized something. So, we've seen this scene, this was actually in the first promo image they showed of Corn Sweat, where he's putting on the boots, and we see the big fight in the. Yes, Oki, he could still punch the foot. That is true. But then what if that woman runs into the way of the tail? Huh? Checkmate, atheist. So we've seen this shot before. Nobody has really been able to like pinpoint what the hell is going on back there. You know, Cider and I, when we first saw it, we were like, is that Solaris? I saw some people going, is there like a multiverse rift happening? What's going on back there? I still don't know, but I just realized
That
and it's so like it's gonna be, I'm gonna like replay it a couple times, but it's really, really quick. You can see the green thing is actually a net. It's Guy netting the fucking like whatever they're fighting. And I just realized that right now, but this links into something I'll get into later. I'm so happy we're finally seeing a Green Lantern who isn't just shooting lasers. I'm glad we're seeing something actually, or like someone actually make constructs and they're green and that's how they work. One of the things that always pissed me off about the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds, all the memery aside, is there is that scene where he's at the birthday party and he makes a machine gun and he starts like shooting the machine gun. I hate that scene because the machine gun is real. Like he like makes it and it like shimmers into like actual metal, and then he fires like actual metal bullets at everybody. And I'm like, that's not how the ring works. And so I'm really happy Gunn is showing us the ring as it should be rocking.
who you are.
I'm so happy that his parents are alive too, even though I am pretty sure that Pa Kent is, something is going to happen to Pa Kent because, so shout out to Josh Berger, you guys know him, Bounding Into Comics associate editor. He's hanging out here sometimes every so often, but we were watching the preview, the first teaser, and this specific shot's in there. And it, you know, the one of where it ends with Clark putting his hands on his dad. I was like, that's just a sweet moment. And Josh went, oh, this is worrying though, because he apparently knows that actor, and the actor is really, really known for playing like mentally, and like Alzheimer's, amnesia, those kind of characters. And he's like, I'm worried that they're gonna give, you know, Pa Kent's gonna be Alzheimer's, and that's what they're really gonna hammer on. Obviously, he's talking to Clark. We see him later on talking with Martha. So even if he is, he still has moments of lucidity. But yeah, so that's what I went, no, I don't know if they're going to do that. It seems like he's got his parents. It's going to be fine. But then Cider pointed this out to me. What, like, remember All-Star Superman? One of the things, like when Pa Kent dies, well, All-Star Superman and just Man of Steel Superman, when Pa Kent dies, it's of a heart attack. Because that's something that, like the lesson is like there are still some things that even Superman can't defeat. Cider was like, I could still see them doing that, but with Alzheimer's, right? Like he's not there and they're dealing with that. And then at the end of the movie or midway, he passes away. Not like tragically, but he'll pass away still. And Clark will still have to confront, you can't beat everything. And I'm like, ugh, we will see. We will see. I'm not sure how I would feel about it. I think that's when I would have to leave. I have to chalk up to, let me see how you guys execute it. Yeah. I promise next week I'll probably be 100% back in fighting shape.
Superman.
Mr. Terrific just looks terrific. I was saying this, I think I was just showing this to Andrew last night in the aftermath of Foil Variant. I really, really liked the guy who played Mr. Terrific in the CW show. I thought he was great. This guy, though, he looks like he came right out of the comic books. And the big differentiator here is that this actor has the very strong cheekbones that they really emphasize. Go look at any drawing of Mr. Terrific #2. You will see that like they really emphasize that for him. So this looks like he just came right off of an Alex Ross page. It's pretty crazy. Also, here's another bit, like Mr. Terrific like explodes this guy with his T-sphere. Like, bam! Just explosion.
Superman.
He's not a man.
Super interesting here. It looks like there's some sort of meta-human prison being established, but we have Metamorpho, and it's kind of cool. They're having him in the cell generate kryptonite so that they could obviously, you know, imprison Clark and beat him up because, you know, screw these guys. The fact Mr. Terrific looks like Mr. Terrific is absolutely terrific. I agree, Oki.
He's an it. Somehow become the focal point of the entire world's conversation.
Oh, okay, so this is something I want to clarify. A, this is cool, just seeing the Justice League
The focal point of the
finally
entire world's conversation.
assembled, if you will. Yep, we got our Guy Gardner, we got our Hawk Girl, we have our Mr. Terrific. A lot of people have been unhappy with the costumes, you know, calling them bland, calling them generic, calling them just ugly. You know, why didn't they give Hawk Girl her costume? Why is Guy not, you know, generating his costume with his ring? Why doesn't he have the big symbol? Here's the thing, though, guys. That's all on purpose. So that you're supposed to be having that reaction because what's happening in the plot, according to everything that, you know, Gunn's talked about, Corin Sweat's talked about, is the JLI, or this is the Justice League. It's based on the JLI. They are the heroes, right? But they are corporate heroes, like we were talking about a little while ago. They're under, you know, control by Maxwell Lord, and their suits here are supposed to be like uniforms, right? That's why they're all very similar, like with the white in the middle, a black, a little bit of color highlight, and then all of them have that same JL symbol across their chests. Mr. Terrific, I think a lot of people are getting confused because Mr. Terrific is wearing it, but it looks exactly like his regular costume anyway, because he does just wear jackets and, you know, like pads with the stripes and everything. I'm thinking he probably made the suits for everybody, so that's why, like, I modeled them after mine. That's why I look natural. But that is the reason why they have these really bad costumes. That being said, I'm still so stoked on Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. This is going to be he's going to be a fun performance. I can't wait.
I will not.
Agreed, Oki. Agreed.
That.
Right there. Massive hater, like he's Dan Henschel energy right here, and I love it.
Except
Lex,
that.
not Superman, right there. This is like what breaks Lex? Superman breaks Lex just by existing. I love it.
I cleaned your boots. I'll go get them for you.
So, again, love seeing mod podcasts. You know, my support of that and my joy in that is it ties back into that whole thing I've been saying where, yes, it's good to tell stories about, you know, how hard life can be and broken homes and things like that, and, you know, how the world can get you down. But we also lack a lot of inspirational characters to look to, the ones that, sort of like I do with this show, remind us that, yeah, all this stuff is bad, but life is still worth living. There's still cool things out there. And so seeing his parents alive, seeing that emphasis put on them, I like it. I know that, you know, Superman is one of those characters where depending on the adaptation, you got to sell me, but I can accept a dead Ken. I can accept one dead Ken. I can accept both of them alive. You got to make it work for whatever setting you're doing. And I think Gunn's doing it well here. But more so than just that, I wanted to, there's a better, like, 1 second shot of him flying into the kaiju. Hold on. Well, whatever. That's the best one I'm going to give you guys, so I don't, you know, keep you here all night. But I really am really happy that Gunn decided to use a kaiju as the main villain for this film, mainly because that is what Superman deals with, right? One of the things that I've always really liked out of DC, and I don't think it's technically official, but it's a very meta narrative that a lot of creators have talked about as they've, you know, written Batman stories and Superman stories, is Batman, you know, Gotham Batman, that's where you deal with like real dark, you know, psychopaths, killers, rapists, murderers, all of that stuff. You deal with that over there. You walk through, you're walking in Gotham, you need to be head on a swivel because you'll probably get robbed. You not even robbed, you might get hit with fear gas, and there goes your evening plans. But in Metropolis, it's, you know, it's big, bright. You've got Superman, but he has to deal with aliens, monsters, giant robots. You know, you might not get stabbed in Metropolis, but there's a good chance you might get stepped on just going down to grab a sandwich from Jersey Mike's. So I'm really glad that Gunn is leaning into all of what is, like, instead of going, this is Superman, let's get away from the more fantastical stuff, he's going, this is Superman, let's get into Superman. Again, there it is. A construct that's not just a beam. Guy smacking away the trucks. Love it. This is my favorite. This is probably going to be this is the last big thing I was going to highlight from the trailer because I love it so much. But Clark and Jimmy being friends and like being excited bros and doing this weird little like I know you're on the phone, but like I can encourage you too, like and you're like kicking each other. We've all been there with our friends, and it fills me with joy. I love this. Remember the last Jimmy Olsen, the secret spy reporter for the CIA? Get out of here. I don't want that. I want this. And then I just as an aside, I just love this shot because this is 100% something that would happen. I know a lot of women like this from being like growing up in SoCal. I could see myself logging onto Instagram tomorrow and seeing one of my friends going, "Hammer of Justice, crazy Superman." Give us that. Give us that. Ugh.
You have a dog?
And then just a great scene of anybody who has a dog knows that this is perfect. And I love that, you know, Gunn could have done the really over the top thing and been like, Crypto's jumping up on him and being a really rambunctious puppy. Remember, he's a dog. But I'm glad it's just let him rest, especially because it looks like from what we saw earlier in the trailer, at some point he probably gets like kryptonite poisoning because he's got those veins going up. So, oh God, no, not Mufasa. Oh God, no.
Fire.
We'll just hang here, I guess, for the final shot. So, yeah, like it looks like he's gonna get kryptonite poisoning. So that's just the dog waiting for his master to heal. But that is Superman. As we went through, I'm really, really excited for it. Gunn clearly loves the character. He's doing him right. We're leaning into the things that made us love him as a comic book character or as a cartoon character more than we started liking him as a culture war chess piece, right? He wants to save lives. He lives in a city where monsters and kaijus arise. He's got friends. He's got family. It's just, I know it's just a trailer, but I love what I'm seeing so far. And again, Gunn, defying all of our expectations, I'm really excited for this, and I think we're going to get a good Superman movie. Like I said, I don't think that doesn't necessarily mean I think that the rest of the DCEU is going to be a banger. There's a lot of problems, especially with, you know, not just Gunn's plans, but with the Warner Brothers of it all, wherever their finances are currently sitting, all of their upper level plans. There's a lot to be shaky on here. But I think we're going to get a really good Superman movie. And I'm really thankful, like not only excited, but I'm thankful for that. Between this and Thunderbolts, just two, I mean, I wouldn't call maybe Superman a sleeper hit, but just two genuine products made with an intent of creativity, of loving their characters instead of changing them into proper marketing material. And so kudos to Gunn, kudos to, what's his name? Peter Safran, who's the other co-head of DC Studios. You know, hats off to Rachel, to David Cornsweet, to Nick Holt, to everybody. I can't wait for this film. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about when it finally drops in just a couple months. July is going to be a crazy month, guys, because we're going to have Superman, we're going to have Comic-Con, and then we're also going to have the Final Fantasy, the Final Fantasy MTG is going to be like wrapping up, and then we're going to be opening into the Spider-Man set. So buckle up for July, buckle up for the summer. It's going to be a white boy summer if the information I'm hearing is correct. But until we get to white boy summer, we'll have to deal with a couple more weeks of, well, actually, it's just summer starts in like a month from now. I know that because June 21st is technically in America when summer starts, but it starts at like 7 to 8 p.m. My birthday is the next day, June 22nd. So I always remembered it because like I'm the first full day of summer. Like that's me. I'm such a special little boy. But yes, and we got about a month until we start into summer proper. Hey, what's going on, Dante? Happy to see you, buddy. Always a pleasure. But unfortunately, as I was getting into, we are here at the end of the show. We did go we did go long, either 30 minutes or an hour, depending on which schedule you think I would have been keeping anyway. Before we get out of here, I did get this comment from Sakura Amita. Let's jump over to the web real quick. There is I saw this floating around the internet a couple days ago, or actually like a couple months ago. Oh, this is 8 years. So this is an old thing, but this isn't the important part. So Sakura Amita brings up this story that is a skincare place that was in Vietnam, randomly decided that they were going to use the umbrella logo. And it just feels really weird if you know exactly what Umbrella is, because that's what Umbrella did. They were like, we're a great company. We're here to help you. We're here to offer health treatments. And then you become a tyrant. So Sakura Amita brings that up to set the stage for his comment, which is, he said, after this, I really want a Resident Evil game taking place in Vietnam. Imagine a tactical survival horror game where bioweapon monsters are bullet sponges and you and your men try to outsmart them. If they died, your survival chance decreases just like in Sweet Home. Might be cool. I think the Vietnam War setting is really ripe for lots of stories. We obviously, or not obviously, but unfortunately are too sensitive to it because it is one of the distinct wars where America got their asses handed to them very, very, very hard. Don't know what it is, guys. America, there's that old saying, don't bring a knife to a gunfight. Well, if you bring a stick to a gunfight with America, you're gonna win. Hats off to the Viet Cong, hats off to Al Qaeda. Like, they beat us in both of those wars. So, yeah, I think that could be cool, Sakura Amita. I don't really have a lot to say on, like, I don't have a criticism or anything to really add to it. I just think that's a really cool concept. And I just, as an aside, I think I would want to see more Vietnam War setting stuff. But aside from that, we are out of here. We are at the end of our time here. So honestly, that might be it, Dante. Maybe if you're just really good at like burrowing and tunneling, you defeat us. That's why our nation's farmers fight so hard with gophers and rabbits and other varmint, right? But yes, guys, with that, let's get out of here. I know it is a Friday night. You guys probably have a lot of cool plans to get to, games to play, movies to watch, girls to kiss, boys to kiss, maybe. I don't know. Either way, I'm glad you guys hung out with me tonight. I know we went through a lot of stuff, from the Magic cards to the comic book industry to Superman. But hey, I was excited. As always, Fridays are a pleasure for me because I get to do this. I get to hang out with you. I thank everybody for, giving me their time, their support. Without you guys, there would be no reason for me to host GMUs on Friday. But the fact that you guys keep turning out shows me that, like me, you guys want better. You want to remember that there are still good things out there. You don't want to deal with just everything being doom and gloom all the time. So from everybody, from Dante to Sakura Amita to Shinkai to Volume Dealer to Andrew to Zero to Oki to Sherry to Corey to Punk to everybody else who was watching in the VOD, to everybody else who was watching tonight and didn't comment. I see you guys. I love you guys. You're just as, equally important to me as my live viewers. Love every single one of you. As always, guys, you can come back next week, same time, same Mav time, same Mav channel for another episode of Good Mav Ugly. If you want more of me before then, you can always catch me Wednesday nights over on the Bounding Into Comics channel, where I host the 01 stream with Jacob, Cider, and Nerdigans, where we break down the bigger pop culture stories of the week, your Marvels, your Disneys, your Star Wars, all that sort of fun crap. If that's up your alley, come hang out with us. If not, join me Thursday nights for Foil Variant with Andrew, where we go through the week's new releases, talk about what's good, talk about what's bad, and give you intellectually honest comic book talk. Go, you can find the link to that channel down below. And then, yeah, come back next Friday. I'll see you guys. I'll be ready right here, ready to kick your weekends off right. Until next time, guys, go have fun. Go play something great. Go order your favorite meal this weekend, all right? Go get something that you really want to eat, even if you're on a diet. This is a Mav cheat pass. It's all yours. Enjoy life. There are reasons to get up in the morning, and I will see you guys next week.
As the creator of Mara Jade,
Wait! I am not the creator of Mara Jade, and I want you to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Zeb.
No way.
You brought
No
it on
way.
You brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
I'm so
Out.
sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Ted, I got your voucher.
Out! There.
I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. We'll have him like burned and we'll
I don't
execute
even
him
know
and
who
burned.
that guy is.